on YouTube. For all my people coming in YouTube, what's going on tonight? Tonight we're gonna have a special guest speaker up in the house. Of course, Judge Joe Brown. It's been a couple months since the judge was up in the Newstoter broadcast, and he's gonna be joining us tonight to talk about forming a MAGA political party. Actually, why we should back a MAGA political party. Be interesting to get the judge's views on that. For everybody coming in, make sure y'all click that notification bell, like tonight's broadcast, also share it as well, and leave a comment as well. Like I said, we're waiting on the judge right now to make his way up into the actual X space. Of course, we're streaming this on YouTube as well, where you guys are at. So definitely, like I said, show some love and click that notification bell, because we already know YouTube is not sending out any notifications whatsoever. Most of you guys don't receive any notifications. So click the notification bell and definitely go ahead and share a nice broadcast, leave a comment, all that good stuff. Shout out, I see Ray's up in the spot as well too. What's up, Ray? What's up? We just waiting on Judge Joe Brown and a few more of our other folks to come up in here as well too, guys. Definitely waiting on the judge. I definitely want to hear what he's got to say tonight. If you guys missed last night's Twitter space, you can catch Dana. I believe you recorded your space as well too. So if you guys last night, Dana and Judge Joe Brown held a space, and I got in towards the tail end, but I know they were talking about the Fannie Willis situation as well too. So definitely go ahead and check out Dana's space, The Real Dana. Also check out her YouTube channel as well too, The Real Dana. And like I said, we're going to go ahead and get into this thing in just a little bit. I definitely want to hear about the difference between the GOP and the MAGA, and exactly how this would fit in the structure of American politics as well too. Judge Joe Brown is a historian as well as a politician. To be a judge, you have to run for office as well too and get elected. So he does have a political background, even though we know he ran for mayor, but you got to be a judge, you got to be elected as well too. So it'll be interesting to hear his take on this situation tonight. Never really thought about MAGA as a political party. I never really thought about it. I know years ago, it had to be around maybe 2012, 13. When was the Tea Party? The Tea Party, you had the Tea Party come out. It's like the Tea Party just dissolved. They came in for a while. Maybe that was during Obama's first term, when they came in the midterms, and they took control in the midterms, and then you had the Tea Party and this and that or whatever, and it seemed like they pretty much faded away after a few years. So I wonder what's the judge's opinion on the longevity of something like a MAGA political party, if exactly how feasible that is as well too. So like I said, we're just waiting on Judge Joe Brown, waiting on a number of our people to come up in here as well too. We definitely want to see our folks come up in the actual space and ask the judge some questions as well too. So definitely pretty much whatever you throw at the judge, he'll answer. So tonight, don't be shy. Come up with your questions. Have your questions ready. Same for my people over there on YouTube as well too, guys. Leave some questions over there in the actual comment section of YouTube, and I'll read some of them to the judge as well too. So we definitely, like I said, anticipate him coming up in the space anytime. Definitely, I know sometimes the judge, he's a little bit behind on schedules. I'm sure he's pretty busy, and he has sometimes previous engagements as well too. But he always comes through, and when he comes through, he pretty much delivers. Everybody they're always happy and interested to talk to him and everything as well too, because he does have a wealth of knowledge, definitely on the legal side and historical as well too. When you live as long as a person like him, you've seen the changes that come and go in this country as well too. I'm sure some of them will welcome changes, and of course when you hear him speak, some of the changes weren't so welcome with the way things have kind of got shaken upside down. So shout out to our people coming here. Nappy Andre, what's up guys? Definitely shout out to everybody coming up in the space. Okay, Dana was up in here, but she may be trying to contact the judge as well too. So we definitely, like I said, we want to hear from the judge tonight and get his take and his opinion on everything else, man. It's been a crazy news cycle going on as well too, guys. Of course, y'all know the California reparation thing. A bunch of noise on that. The black people in Chicago, and I probably touch up on that in the space. You got the black Chicagoans. They're pissed off with the Brandon Johnson, the mayor up there, because they feel like he's starting to put the migrants ahead of the black people up there. So we got a lot of different things going on in the political arena right now, news cycle and everything else as well, guys. So a bunch of stuff been going on as well, man. From you name it, it's pretty much been popping. And of course, Fannie Willis, we covered that. Fannie Willis, that situation has been dominating the news as well, too, man. So just a bunch of different things going on in the news cycle, bunch of different things. See DJ popping up in here as well, too. So what's up, DJ? Let me go ahead and send you that co-host invite. See my girl Shannon up in here. Shout out to her. Thaya, shout out to you as well. Shout out to our regulars up in here. Shout out, guys. What's up, DJ? What's up? What's up?
Out and about. Shout out to the Newstoter fan. What's good on the hump day? Let's go.
Nothing too much, man. We just sitting up here, waiting on Judge Joe Brown to get up in the actual space. Sometimes the judge he makes his interest a little bit later than everybody else, but nothing too much except like I say, just talking about some of the actual things that's been going on today, man, in the actual news cycle. Just waiting on Judge Joe Brown. Like I said, you had a bunch of things going on. I think that just read a couple of the headlines from news. So some of the tweets I sent, we sent in today. Missouri senators passed extremist law forbidding abortion access to rape and incest victims. Israel-Gaza war brings 2023 journalist killings to devastating high. California Dem introduces bill to divert surplus funds to reparation amid historic budget deficit. Beyonce just reclaimed country music. The legacy of the father of the black professional basketball. Y'all check that out on the actual page itself. Oklahoma Supreme Court to hear Tulsa race massacre reparations. Kodak Black is set to be released from prison. A look inside Dallas proposed $1.25 billion bond has the city wondering, where is the money, LaShondra? Also, very interesting post I sent out earlier today. It says NFL turns to Africa to build a market beyond the U.S. Very interesting. I see a lot of African players in the NFL now, a lot more than there was in the 80s and 90s. So I'm starting to see a injection of actual African players playing professional football. Flip the script. 5 lifestyle changes to prevent type 2 diabetes. Also, war is a bloody business. We got something here for New York Mayor Eric Adams. Under Mayor Adams, complaints of NYPD abuses are way up. That's crazy because Mayor Adams was also a police officer. So the mayor is a former police officer, and looks like you have a bunch of abuse cases up in NYPD. Nearly a third of voters favor reparations for slavery. Interesting, very interesting. Black Film Project, Film Studies Fellowship established at Harvard University. These are just some of the actual tweets and stuff today that the Newstoter.com put out, guys. That's why I say you guys need to visit Newstoter.com to stay up to date on breaking black news. Georgia Democrats push to get abortion rights on November ballot. Pay to not play. Jackson State forks over $800,000 in the Southern Heritage Classic settlement. Another let's not celebrate Black History Month without talking about mental health. Like I said, also the article I talked about, Black Chicagoans slam Mayor Johnson for replacing them with migrants. Of course, I know you guys heard about the news of the Haitian president as well. To assassinate a Haitian president, widow among dozens indicted over his death. Funny business going on down there in Haiti. Funny business. The wife got indicted as well, too. with a number of other people. In case you guys didn't hear this, let me give you the news about Malcolm. It says Malcolm X assassination, Ben Crump to introduce new witnesses, evidence to alleged conspiracy in 1965 case. It's our responsibility. You had a rich, wealthy white man. He donated to the Tulsa survivors. Calls on rich white people to pay reparations since the government won't. Give a shout out to him on that. Sac State looks to brighten future as university unveils details of new Black Honors College. 18 Black women run businesses that inspire us. Black men therapists discuss disparities within mental health. Of course, this is from the New York Post. I tweeted out, non-citizen Chinese immigrant is sworn in on San Francisco's election commission. Pfizer pitches more than $20 million for initiatives to improve Black maternal health. Okay. Reporters to Biden, is Gavin Newsom on standby? Okay, I see Judge Joe Brown up in the house. Judge Joe Brown, I was just reading the actual comments. Actually reading some of the actual news from the day off of Newstoter.com. Just trying to keep people a little engaged until you got here, guys. So shout out, we have the Honorable Judge Joe Brown is up in the house tonight. Judge Joe Brown, how you doing?
All right. Like you say, the judge is in the house. All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And time flies because I swore it had only been like a month since you was in the space, but then I looked at the last time and I think it was like December, like the end of December. So I'm like, damn, we got to start getting the judge in here more often, man. I got to try to get you in here, Judge, at least once or twice a month. Is that okay with you? I know you have a busy schedule, but our people, they love to hear from you.
All right, that's fine with me. I was just doing a thing several today. Last one was getting around his YouTube thing. I was on Megan Kelly's thing today. We were talking about Miss Fanny.
Wait. You was on there with Megan Kelly?
Mm-hmm.
Oh Lordy. Okay. What did Megan Kelly have to say?
She said about the same thing I was saying in a different way. She's an attorney, been practicing longer than most people. It sounded like, well, turned out she's been practicing as long as Fannie Willis had been turned out. So, yeah, she had some things to say. We talked about ethics, lawyer's responsibility to the public and his license, and the oath he or she took to avoid the appearance of an impropriety. Not just avoid doing wrong, but avoid the appearance of doing wrong, because it destroys the public's confidence in the judicial system. Everybody from the judge to the prosecutor to the lawyers for plaintiff and defense have that obligation.
Yes, sir. We did a space on Megan Kelly, the situation, when they had the National Black Anthem, and she had some criticism of it. And we actually had
I do too.
You have criticism?
A lot of criticism, yeah. See, we are whining in that. We're begging for somebody, and somebody's going to give us something that we need, something to celebrate, something we have forced, where we have said, to hell with you, we're going to take it. See, the Star Spangled Banner is, see, it's racist as the devil, especially its third stanza. But it's talking about we are defiant against the greatest navy in the world at the time and the most advanced and powerful army at the time, and we're kicking ass, or at least they can't beat us down. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about we are praying and one day maybe and somebody give us something. That's not a national anthem. That's an embarrassment. I'm sorry, I'm a man, and I can't beg any son of a bitch for a damn thing.
Well, Judge, you know too that like growing up, they had us in school learn the actual lift every voice and sing.
I know they did, and it's nice. See, how old are you?
I'm in my mid-40s.
Okay, when you were in school, there was Malcolm X, there was H. Rap Brown, there was Stokely Carmichael, there was Eldridge Cleaver, there was Huey P. Newton, Angela Davis, etc. they had this Black Student Alliance, Black Student Union, the Panther Party, and other folk, and they didn't want you to hear what we had to say. And if you want to hear what we had to say, the paradox is watch the movie Black Panther and listen to what comes out of the mouth of Killmonger, the one they put up as the villain, that they considered righteousness as villainy, which you heard put in the villain's mouth in that obscene movie Black Panther. They had the counter where the hero says some other things in there that you're supposed to applaud. The children are applauding, and they went and pushed that in the schools because it's safe. You don't think that they would put anything in the schools that would upset the status quo, do you? Of course not.
No.
So all of the children get taught this, so you have a feeling that it's sacred when they are intentionally pushing something that was put up by a crowd of Negroes who were trying to be accommodationist and beg somebody to please, can you give me more kibbles and bits, scratch my belly up behind the ears, and in today's terms, send $19 a month to the Save a Negro Fund. Because I'm out in the cold, chained up in a kennel, and I don't know love, except the chains aren't real, the kennel bars aren't real, they're all in our minds. See, this is an effort to keep black men thinking like a slave, like a supplicant, rather than somebody that is equal to everybody else who makes demands. See, I noticed this 50-some years ago, more than 50 years ago, I was an intern at DC think tank. And this was like early 1972, something like that. And we had to go through 60,000 pages of the congressional record to study what the congressmen and the senators were saying about why they passed the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act and the amendments to the Civil Rights Act. And out of that 60,000 pages, there were about 4, not quite 5. And I remember this because some of the folk were shocked, that talked about the civil rights marches. What they were concerned with is starting with Harlem in 1964, where they burnt stuff up, and in Los Angeles, where they burnt stuff up in 65, and in Chicago, etc., in the big cities. That's what they were concerned with, not anybody begging. They don't give a damn, because when you beg, you're safe. And if you give a gift, you can take the gift. So what is important is being in a position to vest consequence. We can't even vest the consequences of a vote, because everybody knows that we're going to vote for one party no matter what they don't do, and vote against another party no matter what they ever try. So nobody has an incentive to do a damn thing for us. We're just something out there, and we're treated somewhat by our system like we're some chimpanzees that are safe to be put in a full contact area. And we came out of Africa. They've got great apes, gorillas, chimpanzees, bonobos, and African-looking people. See, that's the way it goes. So we have to man up, act like men, and do something that I heard years ago. Old white chancellors, he and I got along well. I kept winning cases in his court. And he said, look, Lawyer Brown, I don't want to be unpolite. He said, but you know one problem? White folk don't respect black folk because they never stands up for themselves. There's always begging, and they never fight. Oh, they fight a good fight when they got on our uniform, but they don't stand up for themselves. He said they name places and trains after engines because they fight. Now ain't nobody going to hold against you being a Native American. He said, but the only thing black folk get is Martin Luther King Boulevard and Booker T. Washington High School. He said, because don't nobody respect you because you don't fight. Always beg. Now you gonna talk about kicking some ass, then we pays attention. We likes Muhammad Ali, he kicked plenty ass. We likes Joe Frazier, he kicked plenty ass. He said, but nobody respect nobody down on his knees begging while some redneck beating them across the head until some more redneck feel guilty about it. And that's where we are.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're gonna go ahead and get into it. I see Ray has a question to ask. I'm gonna let Ray ask a question real quick, and then we'll get into the actual topic for the night. What's up, Ray?
What's going on, everybody? Got two quick questions, one political, one non-political. So, Judge Joe, I believe today is the 59th anniversary of the assassination of Malcolm X. I was just wondering, did you ever get a chance to meet the brother? And if you have any stories you can share, if you did get a chance to meet the brother.
I didn't meet him. When he died, I had graduated from high school and into college, on the way to college. But my old man took me to hear him speak one time, some years before that. That man, you know, we got all these pulpit pimps that can turn somebody on, but that man was speaking truth, reality, and common sense. And he had the crowd out was standing, and a whole bunch of people fired up like good preacher get all them big hat wearing sisters sitting up in there. He ain't got no man and want to sit up and get excited. So Malcolm was the man. He went through a lot of transitions. I had one interesting experience talking to Alex Hayden that I have a family connection with. His grandfather and my grandfather were business partners, and he was involved with somebody that was a lifetime family friend of mine. So sometimes we had some conversation. It was interesting what Alex Haley had to say about Malcolm, because he goes through that book, The Autobiography of Malcolm X. The other person that you should have heard that would fire you up was H. Rap Brown. But I know this for a fact because I was his bodyguard during the week when it happened. Ron Karinga and the US organization planted a disassembled M1 carbine in his luggage when he was under federal indictment for inciting riots. And they took it out, checked it in to LAX, that's International Airport, Los Angeles International Airport. When he got out there, they busted him for having a firearm in his possession. We asked him not to let those characters take his luggage out, but they begged off, and he did. So he wound up going to jail for that one. But you see, H. Rap Brown was the man. And when he asked black folk to follow him, they went. He didn't stand over there and say, you go over there. He said, follow me, and we did. So, yeah, let's not forget all of these heroes. I'll tell you another. Most unlikely person. You heard Miss Fannie Willis's daddy, John Floyd. John Floyd has a hell of a resume. He was on the legal defense team, was helping out Mandela. He tried cases in Africa, all over this country. And he went to school with me. And when we had to go make a move on something, he was there. He kicked down a few doors. He wasn't anybody to trifle with. He went out on patrols to keep the peace in South Central LA. He grew up in South Central LA. And he didn't take any damn thing off of anybody. But you see, that's another somebody that's got a more impressive resume and more action than anybody you have on the daily scene now. So we've got a lot of brothers like that if you knew what they had actually done, that they couldn't publish because statute of limitations hadn't run, you might find that you have some heroes. So you have to understand two things about Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. They weren't but 39 when they died. And a man is just coming into his full manhood when he hits 40. So they had to get their stroke. or hit their stride.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Judge Joe, Ray, let me get into the actual discussion, and then I'm gonna go ahead and I'll get right back to you. But Judge Joe Brown, based on the title on why a MAGA political party is right for America, I wanted to just touch up on the comment that you had you posted a couple days ago, and I just want to get your and we can build off of that. You says a new political party is gestating MAGA. It grows out of the Republican Party, but it is not the GOP. MAGA offers a embryonic common sense platform for all Americans of all persuasions to use, rescue the USA from decay, help it become a strong new party, and split from the GOP. So just based on that, and I see you're talking about splitting from the GOP as well, too. Like, exactly how would MAGA benefit the masses in America?
Okay, Trump was never a Republican in his life. He was a Democrat. He supported a whole lot of Democrats over the last 50 years. I saw it, and I know some of the people he supported. He got Jesse Jackson paid for his headquarters, did the fundraising for Jesse Jackson when he ran for president twice. Let's not get into what your personal opinion may or may not be of Jesse Jackson. Back in the early 90s, he'd go into clubs, seen him off in these clubs. New York, other places, he wouldn't have any security. He'd be hanging with the black folk, and every rapper, every now chicken-eating, bobble-headed Al Sharpton type would be trying to be seen with him. And he's helped out some people I know personally. So he's not exactly what I call evil. He even used to be engaged to a black woman, fine as she could be, right before he married the current wife. So it is what it is on that. But you see, Maga is a thing set up by somebody that was able to, because of their rules, come in, take over the Republican Party, co-opted, but he's not typically Republican. He's something else. And what he represents that people attack so much in the press to create propaganda to get the average person to believe, tell a lie long enough, loud enough, you can get anybody, including the liar, to get believe it, is that somehow something's wrong with him. But he stands for manhood. See, Biden is he looks like Chester the Molester, which was an old cartoon character in Penthouse magazine. This guy used to go around molesting children and stuff. You've got this bunch in the Democratic Party. This is interesting about Fannie Willis. See, Fannie Willis is just like Kamala Harris. You think somebody being the DA would be all this and that, and you look at what she did. Well, that was Kamala Harris in California. That was Lori Lightfoot, the mayor in Chicago. That's that female prosecutor that's bragging about getting a fine against Trump. That is, what's the name? Ran for governor, Stacey Abrams. That's her. See, the Democratic Party is trying to recruit some third floor bed wenches to run the country and keep the black man and good black women in their place. See, they are man haters. Or if they are doing what they're doing, they can't deal with black men. And even if they deal with black men, they try to take subtle digs at them, like she did against Wade, the guy she had the affair with, buying her stuff. I mean, that's her business, but see, that's what they want to be your leadership. And see, the secret to leadership is this guy somebody that's got personal charisma and presence? So if he said, when the shit hit the fan, follow me, you would follow. No, I wouldn't follow any of that. You couldn't get me to follow Lori Lightfoot, but I look at you, lost your mind. Kamala Harris, you lost your mind. Fannie Willis, oh, hell no. Crazy Stacey Abrams? Hell no. And you see, that's the problem. They're trying to run this game on us that has been with us in this country since we were here to be slaves. To see Willie Lynch, I spent weeks till late at night, sore eyes, going over the microfilm records of these, what we call slave pamphlets. And what Willie Lynch started publishing, he gave lectures. 1706 was the earliest pamphlet I read. He said, at all costs, make sure you never put a black man in charge of anything, even other slaves. He said, you can have a black butler who is your favorite. You can even have a black overseer, but he can't really be in charge. You can have a black coachman or somebody that carries your gun when you go hunting, but never interface with other black folk except when he's wielding the lash where you are around. Never let a black man do it. Always get a black female to do it. And that will, in today's terms, demoralize the men, and they won't know how to act like real men and be a threat. They'll just be like fixed horses. You know, people prefer to ride not female horses, not stallions, certainly, because a stallion will kill you in a minute. You got to watch out for a stallion. You ride one, and I own horses. But a gelding, you wanted to make your Negro slave males geldings, but you didn't want to cut their balls off because you want them to breed like their cattle, so you increase your livestock for fun and profits. See, that's what they're doing right now, and these bastards in the Democratic Party, and I call them that, were chartered in the second decade of the 19th century for the specific purpose of spreading slavery in the Louisiana Purchase and protecting slavery in the South. That's why they exist. And they perfected the techniques of slavery, and they're putting them into effect right now. And I'm not saying anything against good sisters. It's just like when a guy's out of line, I'm going to call him. And when you get these Fannie Willis types, Tracy Abrams, Stacey Abrams types, Lori Lightfoot types, they need to be called out because they're fitting right into what has been oppressing black folk, and they're trying to get you passive, and you're trying to get not only mama keeping you in the house until you should be way on your own. They got to get mama running your business, and not just somebody that's sane. I know some damn good black female and white female lawyers, some that are judges, and I know some clowns that act like Fannie Willis in the courtroom, and you could always beat them because they would always be trying to prove themselves instead of trying the damn case. Instead of dealing with the task at hand, with the job, they're trying to down some man. So you let them down you all through the trial, and they would forget about trying to win their case, and they would be trying to beat you. And by the time the trial is over, they've lost badly, and you could embarrass them then. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you see this mess. This woman has been trying to beat me instead of winning her case. But then they had some good women. But you see, these are just like sellout Negroes, house boys, wanting to be up in the plantation. They want to be up on the third floor being a bed wench. And that's what we have a problem with. And we've got to get rid of that, and we have to deal with the fact that men and women need each other in spite of what these crazy, sick clowns are trying to do to destroy things. We've got to get it back together. And what we have right now is something unusual. To explain this, I'd offer this point. Does anybody in here heard of Buddhism? It's an ancient and honorable religion. But there's one thing that distinguishes Buddhism. It has no God. It is a system of philosophy. And with that understanding, you can deal with what's going on right now. There is a brand new religion. It's called the Rainbow Cult. It has no God, but it has a system of philosophy. The U.S. government is attempting to impose it against the constitutional sanctions as the official religion of the country. People don't get it because they don't see a God with it, but it's the same thing as Buddhism. You can't have Buddha in a city hall. You can't have a nativity scene in a city hall. You can't have the crescent and a star, and Ramadan's coming up. You can't celebrate that officially in City Hall or a U.S. government facility or the state capitol. But you can put a rainbow symbol in there, that flag. So you've got a bunch of zealots using these methodologies of the Democratic Party to enslave the minds of black folk. Now they're enslaving the minds of the population of the country in general after perfecting the technique on everybody's favorite guinea pig, us. And we are getting taken over. This philosophy says to hell with being brave and courageous, to hell with duty, honor, obligation, responsibility, accountability, personal enterprise, self-worth, pride in what you are, for something that says our whole thing is based on we hate ourselves, we cut our dicks off because we don't like being men. And it's anti-masculine. Don't men, these evil thugs out in the hood. And by the way, those thugs in the hood ain't perpetrating right either. They aren't acting like men because real men make where they live a safe place filled with purpose, filled with morality and ethics. But we don't. We think it's normal. Yeah, man, that's normal being black, man. You know, you got to be black folks steal, man. That's real, man. No, it ain't. That is messed up because everybody else on the planet's got a problem with it. You go over to Mother Africa and you find they have a problem with it. Everybody's got a problem with social disorder. And for some reason or another, we have brought into that damn propaganda the same one that's pushing this new cult on us. And it's crazy. And by the way, I don't down all gay folks for this because a lot of them can't stand it. I bet there's some right out here right now that don't like LGBTQIA because part of it represents what happened when somebody stuck something in their butts when they were 9 years old. Or made them go down and suck uncle's thing, you know, or some sick teacher or somebody that was the choir director turned them out. See, they don't like that. There are women who are lesbians. They want to be in women's sports, and they got some boy that's beating the crap out of them, talking about these girls want to wear a sports bra and get in this thing. See, there's another bit that goes in here with this, too. You get this big deal where you got a lesbian. She says, I like women. And I thought this was a cute woman. And I come over and the fool's got a dick. You see. So, I mean, just because you're a Christian doesn't mean you supported Branch Davidian or Reverend Jim Jones serving Kool-Aid at large church picnics in Guyana. Or if you're Islamic, that doesn't mean you support Al-Qaeda and ISIS either. So we have to start thinking rather than getting what we think put in our heads by this crazy mainstream media that we have gotten so attached to. CNN, ABC, NBC, what's the other, MSNBC, those things are poisonous because they have been captured. 55 years ago, I first started hearing all over this country on college campuses how this current rainbow cabal was going to take over. They were going to capture the communications industry. They already had the entertainment industry. They were going to take over the news industry. They were going to infiltrate all of the political parties so they could create chaos and operate behind the scenes while the camouflage smoke was blowing and nobody could see what was going on. And they set out this thing where they hated masculinity because masculinity stood for duty, honor, obligation, etc., etc. And what they wanted was nihilism with no points, no principles, because those points and principles looked like they were against what they were. So they had a group of people that hated that they were not men. Those were the feminists. A group, a part of the group that hated men, and they were lesbians. Some of them. They had a group that hated that they were not strong men. These were these beta boys, the nerds. And then they had a group that hated they were not normal men, some of the gay folk. And then they had a group that hated men because they thought men started war. And when you got all of them together, they got a good start. And if you want to see what they're about, they put out something called the Gay Manifesto in 1972. Take a look at it and see what you see. And it looks very familiar because some of you might have read the BLM manifesto before they took it down after we got on it. But in any event, what we have right now is a problem because you have a party that has been captured by this new secular religion, this cult, and it's trying to use the methods of slavery, which is impose the female element on the male element to suppress it and get rid of the order that exists in a community and create chaos. And you can see it every time you watch what Fannie Willis was doing. Know that Kamala Harris was doing that in California, and she would do it if she ever got in the White House. Look at what Stacey Abrams did or was trying to do in Georgia, and you'll see exactly what's in store for you. Now, there's some good women, but they aren't putting them out there. They're putting embarrassments to womanhood out there to run stuff, and that's not good. So it's our duty to talk against incorrectness so that we have good women and good men instead of these pimp houseboys and third floor bed wenches running everything. So I'll pass the mic on that. I think I said enough. I may have gotten way off topic, but it's all connected.
You say it's all connected. Okay. Let me I'll let Ray ask a question. Ray, if it's about the actual subject, go ahead and ask. If not, just let's hold off real quick because we want to try to keep the judge on the actual on the mega thing. But if you got something you want to ask him about, the mega political party, anybody else down here, we got a number of you guys up in the space tonight as well. We got Judge Joe Brown up in here, guys. If you guys have a question that you want to ask, just come up here, raise your hand. Request to speak, raise your hand, and we will go ahead and we will get to you. Everybody's still on your mics tonight. Judge, I know you be going in sometimes. I'm gonna say we also streaming this on YouTube, so try not to curse too much tonight, Judge.
Yeah, okay, I won't do it. One other little quick remark. See, Maga, if it splits off, it's just getting started. They're trying to invite black folk in. And if we get in on the ground floor this time, then we can get some real say-so on how this thing works. See, the Republican Democratic parties, they've been in for a long time before they even gave us any consideration. And we have a chance to get something that's already in place with an organization. We have a common enemy, that new religious cult. And what is it? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. So we have an opportunity to set up some alliances where we have some common foes and we can all wave whatever we come up with for whatever symbol we have to rally around it so everybody can start getting back to it because all humans have an interest in what normal humanity is about. So with that said, that's why I talked about Mega. It is the opportunity to get the money. And I know woke folk talk about having a black party, but we don't have the money. We don't have the organization. And outside of Atlanta, Memphis, maybe Chicago and a few other places, we don't have that ballast of the numbers of black folk to control politics in the narrative. We can influence them. So I'll offer that by way of explanation. I'll shut up. Okay.
I want to ask you something real quick too, Judge. And I know you were saying that we could go ahead and we could get in on the ground level and everything else as well too. Now, when we think about MAGA, you know, a lot of times people are thinking about the January 6th Capitol riot incident, the insurrection. People, you know, they think about that the extremists, the people that were going up there trying to get into the Capitol and cause harm, they look at the people with the MAGA shirts and the MAGA hats. So they look at MAGA as an extremist type group right now. So in terms of also, you know, when we and I know you were saying as black people, we can probably get in on the ground level and everything else as well too. How does that fit? You know, because a lot of times, you know, when you start sometimes having these racial issues and stuff with police shootings or arrests or this or that or whatever, a lot of times. No, I'm saying when but real quick, Judge, I'm saying when we see these incidents, sometimes we see a number of people out there with the MAGA T-shirts on and hats and stuff, and so you know, what's your opinion about that in terms of black people fitting in the actual MAGA sphere?
Put on a red hat, and ain't none of them home by you. Now, that's the deal. See, you get 2 and 3 times as many folks burning something down, hollering BLM, and nobody paid attention to it. I've been to D.C. when there were 150,000 people clowning around, anti-war stuff. I've seen them take over big swaths of D.C. What I saw was a minor incident. About 180 people committed misdemeanor trespass. And as far as somebody coming up with an insurrection against the mightiest military on the planet Earth with 180 people, what in the world is that? And see, we see a lot of that stuff going on elsewhere around the country over the last 5 years, where they burned down billions of dollars worth of property. It ran a lot of black folk out of business because their businesses got burned down because somebody wanted to protest something. Police shoot black folks, so you burn up black business. Doesn't make any sense. See, so that wasn't anything. That is a First Amendment thing, the right to assemble, to petition the government for redress of grievance. We need to learn that. And we had, back in the mid-'60s, we were doing as much damage as the Army, Air Force, and the RAF were to Nazi Germany in World War II. And A-Trap Brown was pulling out a book of matches talking about how, this goes on YouTube, I won't say, the 3 Bs. And look them up. They came from Montague the Magnificent, the DJ out in LA at the time, on KGFJ. And he was talking about BBB. Look it up and see what he's talking about, because it's no free speech now. And I know what YouTube does, so I won't even exercise reasonable free speech and repeat a historic reality in terms of quoting what was said. So, you know, just look at it. We can't speak freely on this because you're on YouTube. That's an example of what's being done to use fascist methodology for control. Now, again, I'll pass. Let me settle down, because I'm not used to all of this pacifism I see.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me go ahead and get to Ray, and then I'm going to get to Quadir. Ray, go ahead and unmute your mic.
My question is going to be real simple, Judge. With the election coming up soon, I'm kind of putting you on the spot. What is Judge Joe Brown's prediction of who's going to be next president of the United States, and where does he see America going from there?
I think he's going to get Donald Trump again. I really do. See, Biden, he's always been an old racist, one of the worst I've ever encountered. And we forget but he is not possessed of leadership. Kamala Harris will probably take over within a year because he's going downhill fast. You don't always get like Joe Biden just because you get old. But some old folk do because they come down with dementia or Alzheimer's. And when it happens, it's tragic. But what happens too is before you get really incapacitated, you start having your true character come out, and he's a real live son of a bitch, and that's what we're getting. A racist son of a bitch, an old line piece of urban trailer park trash. And the older he gets, the more you can see it if you look, if you know what you're looking for. So I predict we're going to get Donald Trump. And what he needs to do is put a stop to some of this evaporation of masculinity that's going on, because that's the yin-yang principle. You have to have a balance between the feminine and the masculine. And right now, we don't have much in the way of masculine, the way things are run on a big scale. So that's my prediction. Donald Trump. Now, if you want Kamala Harris, more power to you. It's free speech. It's America. But when you get Kamala Harris, what she's really like is what you've been looking at with Tammy Willis. Fannie Willis. Excuse me.
All right. Thank you, Judge. Let me go ahead and get to Quadir. Quadir, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, what's going on, Toter? Shout out to the room. Thank you for holding the space. Shout out to everybody in the room, and shout out to the co-host. What's going on, Judge? How you doing tonight? My question is pretty simple. My question is,
I can't hear the brother.
You can't hear him, Judge?
I cannot hear him.
not at all.
I hear you.
Ooh.
What do you want me to do? You want me to drop down?
That's not unusual. Anytime I call in, there's going to be some kind of problem. You see, they don't want us to communicate because we get dangerous. We're not being passive.
Yeah, drop down, Quadir, and come right back up.
See, we're not singing lift every voice to sing. Goddamn singing. We got enough song and dance black folk do. Let's take some action. So when you're not going lift every voice and sing, then you get dangerous.
Yes.
And then switches to Miss Bank.
Yo, can you hear me?
Can you hear him now, Judge?
Hear you loud and clear, sir.
Hey, what's going on, Judge? How you doing? So my question is going to be straightforward, nice and quick. You mentioned that the MAGA people are trying to extend an olive branch to us, trying to recruit Black Americans, foundational Black American freedmen. Can you tell us how are they trying? Because I know there's been some people mad at the MAGA team for not for not cutting off Charlie Kirk and stuff like that. So I'm just curious as to how they're trying to reach out to us.
And don't worry about what somebody says about you negatively who may be associated with somebody else. In my day, we used to do running the dozens for recreation, elementary, junior high, and high school. No, we're talking about somebody's mama, talking about everybody was cool. Now, if you go to some of these right-wing sites that black folk tend to stay away from and you read them, the dialogue is very interesting. They're talking about what's wrong with you folks. These black folk are in the same place we are with the same problems we have, and we're sitting up there turned against them. What's wrong with us? We need to be making alliances with them because our interests are the same. Have you lost your mind when you get to talking this racist mess? That's how they're talking to each other. So there is an interesting thing. I read police magazines. In other words, the stuff they have down in the police locker room or outside of the sheriff's office. And you read this stuff, and they are actually having discussions. What are you going to do if some one of these far left folk ask you to go kick in the doors of some people and violate their rights? And then see, another thing you need to be aware of, read the gun magazines now. They've got black folk in the ads for selling guns. They've got black folk featured in the articles in these things. They've got black women and black men. They have their pictures in here. That's showing you that something else is going on. That was not the case before. They're even running editorials about we need to fight gun control because gun control got implemented in the first place as a racist way to keep black men in check. And that's what you have as editorials. And NRA, you get guns and ammo, shooting times, whatever it may be. You see, there is this receptivity, and instead of asking, instead of whining, you need to get in and assert yourself right now and start saying, hey, look, let's get this together. And, you know, somebody needs to start doing something about what's getting not taught to our children in school and what's happening, indoctrinating them in school. Somebody needs to talk about we need some jobs. And there are discussions going on in places that black folk won't look. And when you listen to the discussions, they're talking about, you know, we have to recruit these black folk. And guess what else is going on? You know, all this crap to the southern border where they're letting all these aliens come in, illegals. They're even talking about we need to start seriously considering setting up viable and realistic alliances with black folk to offset what's happening with going on at the southern border. And we're missing an opportunity. You don't have to go in there as a supplicant. You go in there with a product that people want. You got a thing going on and you got beer. And people want to drink cold beer and you have it. You're not in a beggar's position. You're in a seller's position. So we need to get this together. And don't sit there and get swept under the carpet. You don't have to be nice. You can make demands. Because you have something that is considered to be a viable thing that they're seeking. See, nobody in this country is going to be a majority in about 10, 15 years. And a lot of people who understand this, and a lot of us don't, are trying to recruit us. So we're getting recruited to people that are trying to destroy our families, manhood, childhood. And we need to say, there's something else we can do here. This is coalition politics. And for folk who said, oh, we're going to do that. No, it ain't going to happen. And even if it happened, how much money you got? Now, pass the mic.
Real quick, guys, up in the Jumbotron, we have the Newstoter YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe to that YouTube channel. Same for my people on YouTube, guys. Make sure if you have not subscribed to that YouTube channel, you go ahead and subscribe, click the notification bell so you can receive the notifications, because YouTube are not sending out the notifications. Go ahead and like and share and comment on tonight's broadcast. For those that can support us on Cash App, $Newstoter. $Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news curation platform today in America. Once again, $Newstoter. Newstoter. If you do not have Cash App, we have the Venmo and PayPal up in the Jumbotron. And if you're on YouTube, we have the Venmo and PayPal up in the description. We definitely need your support. Black media definitely needs your support to stay in business. Quadir, go ahead and unmute your mic, and then I want to ask the judge a question. Let me ask the judge real quick. Now, Judge, I know you were saying that a lot of these MAGA people. Well, matter of fact, I'll let Quadir go ahead and ask. Quadir, go ahead and ask your question real quick.
Yeah, I'm gonna be quick. So, I have one question. So, Judge, like many people, I was thinking about voting for the couch. I was considering voting for Trump. I never voted in the presidential election, even though I think I was old enough to vote the second time Obama was running, but for some reason I still didn't vote. So I would like to ask you, when you get the time or when you can you refer one of those right-wing sites you were talking about that has some political people in there so I could give it a look? That's all. Thanks.
All right. I don't know if Judge, did you hear him? He was talking about possibly referring him to a site with I guess with MAGA type material that he could check up on.
Yeah, that has cool people up in there.
I don't know if the judge is Judge, are you there? I don't know if the judge is in the matrix. DJ, you up in the matrix? You cool? You can hear?
Oh, I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. Did you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Let me say this. It's not mega. What it is, the stuff thinks is mega. They're conservative, working class white folk. And they're in flyover country. You know that stuff when you're at 35,000 feet, you're going from LA to Chicago or something like that, down there. They are looking for alliances, and they're trying to pick up anybody that supports manhood, womanhood, and childhood, and decency and normalcy. So all of those things black folk have in spades, we just tend to forget them. So let's take power in our hands and stop begging and start vending. In other words, it's a bargain here. I'm offering my vote. We are offering our votes. What do we get in return? See, with the Democratic Party, they don't have to offer us anything because we're like dogs. We are loyal to the master and we wag our tails. And they can count on us, thick or thin, responding to their whistles. And when they put kibbles and bits in the bowl, we run over there to eat. But you see, we can't do that anymore. We have to say, we're going to punish you. You took us for granted. So see how it feels when the well runs dry. Where is your water? Now, I pass the mic again, if that addressed the question.
Real quick, Judge, I want to ask you this here because I know you were saying that, you know, the conversations that you've been having with some of the people, and I only say MAGA because, you know, the post you put out, you were talking about, you know, basically the MAGA and almost separating from the GOP, but the thing that I know you're saying that you've been having conversations and they said, hey, you know what, we can use black people as allies, especially against some of the actual things that's going on politically in the country with the border situation, and I guess you were saying also the in terms of the whole sex thing that's been going on in politics as well too. But my thing is this right here, Judge, if they're willing to share these ideas and share all this stuff with you, then why don't they publicly come out and say, you know what, black people, we could use you guys as allies. You know, your vote is being taken for granted with the Democrats. Come on over here, we can work together and this and that or whatever. You know, if more black people heard that, they may be open to actually, you know, hearing what they have to say and actually trying to say, okay, well, you know what, I can get with what you're saying, but you know, we don't really hear that in terms of, you know, the actual, and I'm gonna say MAGA, the actual MAGA crowd actually, you know, with an open hand and say, hey, you know, black dudes, black people, come on over here and this is what we can do. You just wasting your time with the Democrats. And I know Trump has said on a number of times or whatever, hey, what do you got to lose or whatever and this and that. But the actual like I said, the actual people that the actual MAGA crowd or whatever, I don't really hear that from them. I know you're saying that you hear it from them, but we don't really hear it.
Let me say this. They are saying it, but remember, we tend as a people to rely on mainstream media, who is going to make sure we don't hear it. The other point is there's a test involved here. You see, we're waiting for somebody to reach out to us. Sometimes you have to take the initiative. You have to make the approach. You have to bogart the gate. See, it's a test. Are we going to wait until somebody comes to us, or are we going to go and we open the door? And by the way, if you want to see how this works, look at a World War II something. You see Winston Churchill, you see Joe Stalin, and you see FDR. And they aren't exactly all on the same plain when it comes to what their objectives are. But they're working together to get rid of Adolf, Benito, and Tojo. And they do. And they go their ways. But you see, that's how the world works. It's called a coalition thing. People have interest that sometimes coincide. So when you think that there's an opportunity, go get involved. Don't wait back for somebody to give you an invitation. Bust down the goddamn door.
All right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me go.
And one thing, too, let me say this. I'm speaking in code. Read between the lines, because some of us have good sense, and we know how we have Negro informants, Negro pimps, Negro hustlers who will sell out their mamas, let alone the black cause, for personal advancement. We have all these alphabet agencies, so sometimes we're telling you some things that we can't come out and tell you directly because of it. Some of us have been through these things before.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me go ahead. And for any of the, okay, I see Rella. She's got her hand up too. We're going to get to Arkansas, Harriet, Rella, Nick. I see you came up. If you want to speak, raise your hand, and we'll go ahead and get to you as well.
I don't know how to raise my hand, but I just proverbially my hand is raised.
Okay. Well, I'll let you go after One Love. Then it's in your
Thank you.
Let me go ahead and get to Arkansas. Arkansas, how you doing tonight?
Wonderful, bro. Be well, good people. What I would refer anyone interested to is Sonny Johnson does a space every Monday at 11:00. Come into that space, and I dare say that for the first time you will experience what actual conservative conversations are. The tragedy of the current Republican Party, MAGA movements, conservative movements is that they're not conservative, and the Republican Party is piloted and corrupted by losers, and MAGA is corrupted by opportunists. You have some very sincere people in there who are very interested in seeing a populist movement command the political conversation and the cultural conversation. But the drawback is that most of those people and most of those conversations are really kind of reflective of conversations that we've heard from the beginning of this so-called conservative movement. What we are is we are Douglas conservatives. Frederick Douglass, Booker T. Washington, they are the founders of the conservative movements. And what black people have to recognize and understand that we don't get invited to our movements. We allow others into our movement, because true conservative principles have nothing to do with advocacy for foreign wars. True conservative principles have everything to do with recognizing the potential and the power of the individual and making government get out of that individual's way as they aspire to success. Something that Sonny has pointed out for the last 10 years. You know, Booker T. Washington, one of his contributions was introducing black people to the South. And one of the ways that he did that is that he mandated, black people have a lot of oral hygiene problems. So he mandated that every student that came to Tuskegee had to come with a toothbrush. And in his speeches, you know, he used to give these speeches every Sunday to every student. Beautiful speeches about individual responsibility and about command and control. And those speeches led to, by 1907, and this is a quote from Sonny, this is a quote that she made about 10 years ago, 9 to 10 years ago.
Judge, I think your mic might be unmuted. Hey, Judge, I think you got to mute your mic.
That's not me. I hear that in the background.
Okay.
Some kind of water running.
Yeah.
It's the guy with the period.
Oh, okay.
It's not me.
Let me remove him from speaker. But go ahead. I'm sorry, Arkansas.
That's all right. That's all right. And like I said, this is a point that Sonny has been making for over 10 years. By 1907, Tuskegee Institute had graduated more self-made millionaires than both Harvard or Yale. That is the nature of Douglas conservatism and Booker T. Washington conservatism and of true conservatism. Empowering the individual to achieve to their maximum potential and getting the government the hell out of the way. And both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party and all of their little ancillary consultants, they are only interested in making sure that every political cycle that they are in line to get their check. One of the things that Donald Trump does, he disrupts that business model. Because Hillary Clinton spent close to $3 billion on her campaign. She had every celebrity, she had every news head, she had every talking head and social commentator on her team. And in spite of that, Donald Trump beat them at the back. That's the threat that Donald Trump poses. He poses a threat to this political industrial complex. Because the statement is, the person with the more money is irrelevant. The person with a populist message, the person that can speak to the people, and the people can recognize that the values and principles that they're touting are familiar with themselves, that's where the authority is. But I end with that, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity.
No problem. Thank you, Arkansas. Let me go ahead and get to Harriet. Harriet, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Newstoter.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How you doing?
I'm good. I want to first of all tell you that I appreciate you. My account was suspended, and but I was a big fan of yours for the past 2 years, so I'm back. Thank you for all you do. I will
Thank you.
Continue. Thank you. I will continue to promote you, Judge. We follow each other, and I just have 2 questions, respectfully. The first is, I don't see a lot of information from you regarding reparations for Black American freedmen. So I just want to know your thoughts on that, respectfully. And secondly, Megyn Kelly is a racist, and that's undeniable. But you posted something tonight where you were featured on her podcast, and I just want to know, respectfully, how we as Black American freedmen should receive that. Those are my 2 questions. Thank you, everyone. I will mute my mic.
Let's start with the second one first. Listen to what's said. Did it help you out? Did it give you an explanation? All right. Now, since we need to, all of us need to hear that, why cut off an avenue of communications? I don't care if somebody's a racist, because the truth of the matter is we all are. And everybody listening in on this has had something negative to say about white folk, Chinese folk, Japanese folk, South American, Middle American, Mexican folk, European folk, and everybody else does that, because that's human. So let's not worry about people occasionally saying something we might consider racist. And very beginning, we got a thing because she's supposed to be a racist because she doesn't like the Negro national anthem. I don't either. I detested it, despised it because it's begging, and that's not my personality. I don't ever do that. And I'm personally embarrassed by it. And I'm 76 years old. My father would be 117, 16 if he was still alive now. He was embarrassed by it. My grandfather died just when they started it up. He was born in 1850, one of them. He didn't like it either because it was bacon. But of course, he killed 2 deputy sheriffs along with an uncle of mine for their participation in lynching another uncle. But you see, they have a different kind of mindset. Now, back to this other thing. The first one you had. What was that again? Run it by me one more time.
About reparations.
Ask me again.
Judge, it was regarding, I hear you with Megan Kelly. It was reparations. Let me, real quick, with Megan Kelly, she also said Santa Claus was white, Jesus was white. Okay, we'll let that aside. But it's really about, okay, yes, sir, Judge. It's reparations for Black American freedmen.
Last comment on what Megan Kelly's about. Why you get mad at somebody telling you the truth? Santa Claus is white. Okay? All these other things are white. Apollo, Mercury, Gemini, Odin, Thor, Marvel Comics, Loki. All of these things are white. Where are our ancestral gods? Do we know who Dambala, Akoti, and the Gupti are? Ancestral, 3 chief ancestral gods from West Africa. Those are the Nigerian names or Yoruba names. Or the same 3, but we don't have a culture because we don't even know our ancestors. You go over to Africa, they don't even know their own ancestral gods anymore. Then co-op. But you see, white folk have these things, and what's wrong with them being proud of it? Let's have something where we boast of. Now, back to reparations. I would love to get reparations, and as a matter of fact, I used to occasionally throw up in somebody's face years ago. Don't get mad, I'm just getting the interest compounded semi-annually on 40 acres in one goddamn army view. And you see, my grandfather was alive when that happened. He was going on 16 years old when General Sherman on January 16, 1865 entered an order as commanding general of a certain southern military district, ordering that 40 acres of confiscated rebel land and one army view go to each black family. That actually would have been worth something, and we got it until Democratic Johnson from Tennessee, who Lincoln had chosen as his vice president for purposes of reconciliation, became president and countermanded it sometime in July after it had worked. So we had reparations, but reparations has come up in my lifetime. This is the 3rd time. Came up in my parents at least twice that they used to talk to me about it, at least twice in my grandfather's time, both of them. My grandfather on one side took Kojic from Memphis to Kansas City in 1896 and founded Kojic in Kansas City. So he, by the way, knew Booker T. Washington personally, and so did my maternal grandfather, the one that was born in 1850. So he knew them. They did not like Booker T. Washington. Now, I won't even get into it as to why, but let's put it this way. All of these times we've talked about reparations. Now, I wasn't any slouch in the legal department. Did pretty well in law school. Came out kind of floating at the top. But anyway, I specialize in constitutional law, and I'll say this. The only way we can get reparations is through an Enablement and Appropriations Act from the U.S. Congress. It's going to be realistic. Now, we have enough black representatives in the U.S. Congress, House, and Senate to do something about it, but the problem is they're not. And if you want to see what's going on, take a look at the pictures, the official pictures of the people that are in the Congressional Black Caucus. Then go look at the Freedom Caucus or the Liberty Caucus. And that's the LGBTQIA Congressional Caucus. You'll see damn near every Negro is in the Congressional Black Caucus. That's 5 or 6. Is also in the LGBTQIA Caucus. You'll also find something interesting, because I know the name. The Black Caucus has a lot of white representatives in it. All right, I don't have any problem with that, but they have an interesting person as chairman of the Reparations Committee. His name is Steve Cohen. He's from Memphis. He represents the 9th Congressional District for Tennessee and Memphis, which has about the highest percentage of black constituents in the United States. But he's gay, white, and Jewish. So he is the one in charge of the reparations activities for the Black Caucus. In 19 years that he's been in the U.S. Congress in a 92% black congressional district, his landmark piece of legislation is a binding resolution requiring that the congressional cafeteria only use paper straws for ecological considerations. Now, he's also co-chair of the, shall we say, Liberty Caucus, that's LGBTQIA+, and they have got a bill that came out 4 or 5 years ago called the Gay Reparations Act. That's the title of it, basically. And you'll remember when the Congressional Black Caucus was clowning around on 2 weeks of hearings as to whether or not there should be a committee appointed to study reparations. Well, just 2 weeks after that, on the first voice vote, without debate, Congress passed the Gay Reparations Act that the same Steve Cohen had a great deal to do with drafting. Actually, it's only an insurance thing. It wasn't that much money, just $15 million. And it dealt with insurance for gay couples who had been denied insurance benefits. But it's open-ended and no telling how much it ultimately cost. But the chairman of the Gay Reparations Committee is also the chairman of the Black Reparations Committee, and we have nothing done on the black side, but we have a positive result on the gay side, or at least the LGBTQIA cult side. So we might want to ask, what is being done on the home front? And then we elect these people because they look like us. They're almost universally democratic. But what are they doing for us? See, we're electing people that look like us who are acolytes of the new religion and or the cult. And we're not getting anything. So where are we going to get reparations? We're running around wasting our time. Go to the polls and turn these bastards out. And put somebody in there who will do something for you. So I'd like reparations, but I don't think we'll get it. And as far as just cut the check, that's like, every now and then when it looks like the lottery is big, I go buy a whole bunch of tickets. It's worth the investment. But I'm not going to sit at home waiting for the lottery to hit. I have time to spend on doing other stuff to get it together. So let's not worry about cutting the check. Let's worry about getting somebody in office who will push that point and pay careful attention. You can go look it up. What did somebody black do to vote for this? Did he vote for the Gay Reparations Act? And has he introduced anything about black reparations? See, let's take one step at a time. Since we talked about Booker T. Washington, he said, don't try to go to college. Don't try to aspire. Pick up the pail and the mop where you are. Maybe 3 generations from then, somebody might get someplace if they're nice and somebody decides to reward you. I don't buy into that, but that's basically what he was saying. So maybe we need to pay attention to who we've been voting for and realize that that's one of the reasons we ain't got nowhere. Now, that's my opinion on reparations right now. I don't think we're going to get it with the Congressional Black Caucus being what it is. Not right now. And the danger is that in a very little short period of time that'll pass very quickly, there will no longer be a majority race in the country, and the largest minority is going to be Hispanic, and they don't give a damn. So what kind of coalition have we set up, or are we engineering to get these reparations together by coming up with a coalition with somebody who might have voting strength to back us if we tried to introduce some bills that would enable and appropriate reparations? And by the way, money-wise, if you just gave every black person that might make a claim, which is somewhere between 40 and 60, 65 million people, and you gave them $500,000 apiece, that ranges from about 14 to 15 trillion dollars in the entire income of the United States gross. About 4 years ago wasn't but $19.3 trillion. So in other words, you need up 3/4 of the national income if you paid out a check. And we can't do that. The country cannot write that check. So maybe over a long period of time, but then you got to identify who's going to be receiving reparations. Kamala Harris couldn't get any. So why should she be interested in helping us out with reparations? Because she has no background and history in this country with anybody that's been subject to slavery, Jim Crow, any of that stuff. Barack Obama couldn't get a check, so what stake does he have to commit to pushing reparations? You see, we push all these people and we fall in love with them and make saints out of them, and they have absolutely no connection with the objectives that we claim to have. So let's get our act together first, and then maybe we can do that. Then we might get something. It's not too late, but we better hurry. Time's running out. Now, I'll pass the mic.
Thank you, Judge Joe Brown. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Real quick, guys, we got almost 100 people up in the actual space, and we still looking for a donation on Cash App. And even if it's $1, guys, $ Newstoter, $ Newstoter. I know Judge Joe Brown is up in the house tonight, but we definitely need your support as well, too, guys. So for those that can donate on Cash App, $ Newstoter, $ Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news media curation platform, and we definitely need your help as much as possible. Same for my people over there on YouTube as well. $ Newstoter, $ Newstoter. We got 100 people between here and on YouTube listening, guys. So we definitely need your support. We definitely need your help. If you got $1 that you can donate to the platform, it's greatly appreciated. If you do not have Cash App, we have the Venmo and PayPal up in the Jumbotron. Same for my people over there on YouTube. We have the Venmo and PayPal over there on the description, and the Cash App is on the actual screen on YouTube, guys. Support Black media. Support Black media. Shout out to my girl Shannon as always. Shannon, thank you for your contribution. Let me go ahead and get to Miss Rella, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get to you, Nick.
Can I make a comment real quick?
Yes, sir.
Everybody on here who's interested in reparations, shut the hell up or contribute to Newstoter. We can't even contribute to somebody that's trying to help spread some alternative to mainstream media. How the hell are we going to get control of a political party? How the hell are we going to get our own political party? How are we going to do a damn thing if we can't even help out the people that are giving us a voice right now? Now send something in the Newstoter and quit talking shit.
What he said. Let me go ahead and kick it to Miss Rella. Rella, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, Newstoter. Shout out to the room. Hey, DJ.
Hey, Rella.
Hey. So I see. Huh?
What's good, sister?
Hey, one day at a time.
I'm gonna mail you my wallet, all right, bro?
There's always something. I wish Judge Joe Brown would actually say that to the white conservatives, the MAGAs, when they talk shit, to let them know Newstoter exists, and to have them donate to your platform and tell them to shut the hell up. So I'm going to say this, and this is how
I just donated 5 times what was asked. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Whoa.
Listen,
Well, who said? Hold on. I don't know who said what, but when somebody's speaking, don't come off your microphone. I don't know if that was you, Nick, or not, but stay on your microphone. We will get to you. Let me give a shout out to EHZX as well too for their contribution. But everybody tonight, stay on your microphone. Don't come off your microphone. And whether you're conservative or liberal or whatever, like the judge said, you can donate. So it doesn't matter what your political affiliation is. We are still Newstoter, but like you said, don't relish speaking. Stay on your microphone. Also, guys, I'm trying to get everybody not to curse as well too. I know that's hard, but let's not curse. But go ahead, Rella, you got it.
Potty mouth people.
You got it, Rella. I don't know if it's a double mute.
Yeah, no, I wasn't gonna cuss. And I should tell them try not to cuss, but you better keep a leash on Neanderthals. I'm not playing them games tonight. We're not. You come into a space where we're having a conversation. Again, you come into a space where we're having a conversation. If you can't hold your tongue, that's your business. But you're gonna get this work. So, Judge Joe Brown, how are you? You know, normally when I sit back and listen to you, I can sometimes, somewhat partially agree with some of the things that you said. But I also remember that Johnny Cochran and Ogletree and the team of the legal team that actually was put together did not call on you when they were actually getting ready to go for reparations. Hence, when they actually passed away, or when he passed away, Ogletree, I think, recently did, correct me if I'm wrong, you still have the opportunity to put together a package of legal people that you have connections with to actually put a plan to go after reparations for the descendants. That has not happened. The second thing is maybe
it's not going to happen either.
Oh, not with you. No. Not with you. Not with you. And that's understandable. I understand your lane is a different lane. That's fine.
I could.
No.
We are forbidden doing that.
But you have connections with attorneys. So
I know Johnny Cochran's number is still in my cell phone right now.
That's not going to help us right now. I'm talking about, but we're talking about you. You're alive. So all I'm saying is, at the end of the day, Megan Kelly is of German-Irish and another admixture, and she is a first generation of immigrants. She had no business speaking about Lift Every Voice and Sing. Whether or not your individual family didn't like the music or the song, the poem, turned into a song, has nothing to do with the fact that it is still a part of Black American freedmen culture. Our culture.
Let me ask you a question. Hold on.
Wait a minute. I want to finish my statement. And then you can ask me a question because I need you to hear my full thought. The second thing is whether or not you believe it's a begging song, all our ancestors had at the time, as they were also building and singing and pushing through, was to create. Music was one of those things. And so for you, it might be begging for your individual family, but they did so much more than just create music and, as you called it, begging music. They actually created music that was actually meant for the upliftment and pushing through at the time. So it's odd to hear you say something like that, especially when you want to go on to these conservative MAGA platforms and soil yourself in their business. When if they want to, like Nick is in here, they can have a conversation with us. The other thing is, the Republicans have held and has had control as equally as the amount of Democrats, 25 to 23 times in our lifetime, probably your lifetime. And at the same time, they have not presented any opposition of policies that they also signed off that benefited immigrants. So as we are sitting here having this conversation, and you're saying it's not going to happen in America, just don't have it. Let me give you the stats on how much it is costing the United States. $150.7 billion. That's only last year. of how much it costs for immigrants. And those also include the white immigrants that also are coming into the country illegally. America's paying for that. But see, the MAGAs don't talk about that. The people who are in Sonny Johnson's space aren't having that conversation. Sonny Johnson is having that conversation. She's trying to convince those people who want to hear from her, have that conversation. They have yet picked it up. That's why she's annoying when she does have people come on her stage and actually talk out the side of their ears, because they also have a problem with Black Americans having our full autonomy in repair that would actually benefit our country. So when I hear people like Tony Sotomayor in your commentary tonight talk about how we got the background music, why would you want to be worried about if somebody is having, saying racial comments towards you? I'm sorry. Why would you allow someone to denigrate you if you are equally saying you are an American just as much as they are, but they get the opportunity to tell you how much they hate your black ass? I'm sorry, Newstoter, I didn't mean, actually I meant that, but I didn't mean to cuss. So I'm gonna say this too at the other on the other end. Frederick Douglass and the original 33 were not Trump and Mark Gates. Mark Gates and the rest of the MAGA family that took hold and gave the J6ers the mission they needed, along with immigrants that also climbed the wall and hung up a noose and attacked the black church, and also got arrested because they thought having a Latina as their head honcho in charge was going to somehow make it all great again. So I'm going to say it to you like this. When you actually repeat Frederick Douglass and Thaddeus Stevens and the likes, please make sure you have your facts together on what he actually was stating in regards to our condition as a Republican. He had no affinity for enslavers who were Republican, because he realized that they also did not care about the freedoms of the slaves. It was the benefit of the money. They were just anti-slavery because it actually was hitting them harder. So when I look at the information and I hear people talk, I need you to stop trying to manipulate people and believing that we should be on Megyn Kelly's platform talking about what type of repairs we need. We have been singing this song for a few years that we were moving away from the Democratic Party. Megyn Kelly was not a part of that equation. We didn't actually need her to have that conversation. We didn't need Donald Trump to have that conversation. He just happened to throw his hat in the ring because they probably took a coin toss between him and the Clintons, who were best friends. They were all friends on who was going to win the race. We didn't care for Hillary. We saw her in all of the ish that she did. But the Republicans, the Tea Partiers now that are in office, they were too busy worried about Benghazi. They could care less on whether or not Black Americans who are descendants of this country had a full autonomy and repair, so that we also could stand up and hold up our country as they claim to be doing. Because if you ask me, for the last 100 or so years, they done ran this motherfucker into the ground. Oops, excuse me.
Yeah, you just dropping it now. You just dropping it.
Listen, I'm gonna send you some coins. All I'm saying is this: but if you are going to come in here and you are going to try to persuade descendants and other American so-called patriots that somehow we need to be in alignment of people who are committing treason against us, you are dead so wrong. And using your position as a judge, I am very, very upset about that, because we don't need that. Matter of fact, I would have taken your position without you saying that we need to have it at the behest of others who could care less whether or not they hear from us or not. Because the truth be told, we're the ones that are loud, even for the poor whites that seem to don't understand what's happening. We are also moving the needle for them. So if they would like to have a conversation with Americans, they need to come and have a conversation. But that neo-Nazi, treasonous, hell, Hitler type of stuff, Hitler was not a part of America. Okay? And if you're going to walk around waving a flag that you don't even know the symbol came from Africa out of the pyramids of Egypt, you might want to help in your brethren understand that they are also degenerates and their hypocrisy that they're trotting around with their red and black, that we don't want them here. And they are not American or patriots. So at that, I will land so that you can ask me a question, Judge.
Okay, do you have any Irish in you?
Hey, Judge, just real quick for the record, Judge is not practicing at the moment. He's
Do
retired.
you have any Irish in you?
No, I do not, sir.
Have you ever had your DNA tested?
I'm not having my DNA tested because I work with a
You
genealogist.
don't have Irish.
I work with a genealogist, and I have not found no Irish in my blood.
Well, okay, you have no Irish. Then how can you talk about her who's Irish if she can't talk about us because we're black?
All I mentioned was the fact that her ancestors were immigrants who did not migrate or have a story into this country as far as chattel slavery. I didn't talk about her as being white, but I can if that suits you.
Okay,
but that is not the point.
Hold on, Rella. Hold on.
See, you're being illogical.
I'm not being illogical. Please don't disrespect me. No, I'm not. I'm not. If you are going to defend a white woman,
Real quick, Rella. Real quick. So you can have dialogue. Let him go ahead and speak.
You can take it. I'm not disrespecting you, but if you want to let your emotive responses get in here and take it as an insult, I'm not going to back down on this. You're being a hypocrite. Now,
you're asking me an emotional question.
Excuse me. I asked you one. Do you have any Irish in you? You said no, but then you said you never had a DNA test, but you're certain of it. So I said, what makes it all right for you to talk about her? Interject yourself into her space, but she can't do the same thing back. See, you're either going to have these principles of fundamental fairness or you're not. And if you're not, then what kind of power do you have to impose your position?
So it's fundamental. So the fundamental fairness.
Rella. Hold on. Let him, because he's trying to finish his point of view, Rella.
I understand that, but if he's asking me a question, I want to take it slow. Because see, I don't want to have this. I don't want to have that double talk. Okay, those short term. I don't want to do that. First of all, Megyn Kelly inserted herself. If she didn't want to have the conversation, she should have not inserted herself. So that fundamental moral fairness that seems to only be pushed on Black Americans when it's time for us to have the conversation, that's your business if you want to have it on her platform. But please don't try to denote us or define us by saying because the song itself was used as you called it, you just said it out of your mouth, that you define that song as a begging song. It is still part of Black American culture. Who cares whether or not she liked it or not? She's not part of the culture, nor does she have businesses inserting herself and then worried about how people are going to respond. So that fundamental fairness can be also put back in her court. And if she don't like it, that's her business, not mine.
Okay, I'd be willing to bet $100,000 nobody on this venue tonight is paid the dues I have, been through what I have, seen the people shot dead standing.
That's not the discussion.
Excuse
That's
me.
not the discussion.
Hey, Rella. Hold on, real quick. Because we're not going to constantly keep one person can only speak at a time. I'm not going to be trying to speak over 2-3 different people as well, too. Rella, you just said what you had to say. The judge is going to respond. Stay on your mic, please. Go ahead, Judge. I know it's a double mute, but Judge, when you can go ahead and speak.
All right. I have paid more dues than anybody on this venue. I'd be willing to bet hard money. I won't say it on the air because the statute of limitations has brought. I've been shot twice, seen people shot dead standing around me dealing with the black cause. I don't beg, I demand. And nobody's going to mess with me because yea, though I walk through the valley in the shadow of death, I fear no evil because I'm the baddest son of a bitch up in this valley. Now, I can get my damn John Wick on. I've been taking martial arts for the last 59 years in preparations. My dead brother used to be known by Black Belt magazine as probably the most dangerous human alive in America. We studied together. All right, I prepared that way. I got my mind together, and half the Negroes running around fronting off, begging and whining don't. I can get my John Wick on if because I had to. When I had a James Earl Ray case, 5 people broke in my house. We had a shootout, 3:30 a.m. in the morning, 35 shots fired. The the director of police was a friend, and the detective they brought over to investigate was a client. Heavy blood trails. I didn't get touched. All kinds of things going wrong. It was official. It was a hit. Didn't work out. So I paid my damn dues, all right? And I'm talking. And I don't like it, what gets done, but I recognize the system does not work if we're petty and we get emotional and we get upset because somebody talked about us. So what? What can you do? I talk about people too. You do too. You just talked about her. I'm not defending Megyn Kelly. I've never met her face to face. Problem is that when we get black venues, we either get song and dance, BS, that is irrelevant. It gets us nowhere. It gets us happy. It gets us sidetracked, and we get to release steam. And our music, by the way, is dead for a while. We have been on this for hip-hop for 50 years. And it used to be black, all white music. It lasted for about 10. What happened? It got stagnated. Why? Because some white folk bought into it, and they have an international market. They don't want it changed, and our artists are two to get the money rather than deal with the principle. So nobody's standing up. So let's not get real with that. You're getting distracted, sister. You're falling for the okie doke, the game. You got hustled. You went for the propaganda, and you think you're being about this, but you're just being stubborn, and you're being emotional, and you're not listening. Now, if you want to do something, get beyond just protesting and complaining about it. Can you apply power? Now, you want to talk about Megyn Kelly? You want to talk about stuff? Oh, we love Oprah, but hell, for the last 5 years, I beat her in the ratings every damn week. I was the #1 and #2 syndicated show in the United States for 5 years, not just Judge show. People listen, and people needed to hear the message about how to man up, woman up, and get their acts together and start taking control of their circumstances instead of being corks floating around on the water, going whichever way the wind blew. Now, if you read about it on Wikipedia, I was the highest paid man in Hollywood, black or white, for one period of time. Lost all of it, a lot of it, not all of it, in a divorce, but that's another thing. So see, I didn't whine about being black. I didn't say I'm going to have a black show. I said I'm going to have a show. I'll do it my way. And I figured out how to get a California Supreme Court case that came up to 23 opinions, said that page opinion said it had to be in Joe Brown's way. So I'm flaunting it with Hollywood. I know they're a bunch of sick scoundrels. And I tell everybody about it all the time, but so many of us believe it. I don't go around asking. I make demands. And I get away with it. Because they know they can't mess with me because I act a man. And I know other black men who are men. And they don't go around begging. And if I want to talk about reparations and I want to talk about I don't like that song because it's begging, hell, I paid my dues. It's almost impossible to play anymore without being dead. And I'm cool will come soon enough. So if I'm trying to be an elder and say, hey, this is the way it works, this gets results. You got to stand up. You have to be able to deal in best consequences. You can't just be asking. Nobody respects you. And everybody's got the same right to talk about you that you have about talking about them. And guess what? Junior high, high school, elementary school, it used to be a lot rougher than it is now because nobody was protecting you from bullies. You had to stand up with it. And if you were a punk, you got shoved around, be abused, slapped upside your head. And if white folk can get around and abuse us, slap us upside our head, it's because we are collective punks and we can't stand up for it. We ask them, please don't slap me on my head. The devil is that. So if they talk about us and you don't like it, then do something about it. Because they don't have to stop. You don't have to stop either. That's just the game. What is it? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Learn that. It's real. And learn how to break some bones. And learn how to cast sticks and stones. Now, I'll pass the mic with that. But this thing about you like it because we song and dance, they want us to think that we did something because we can entertain. So can a damn monkey dancing on a silver chain at the end of an organ grinder's chain when he's turning it. Look at the monkey. Isn't he cute? Look how he dances. Looks almost human. It's not that I don't appreciate music and dance, but hell, that's not getting us anything. It doesn't get us a paycheck except for a very few. It causes us to spend a lot of money and act foolish. It doesn't get us jobs. It doesn't open doors. It doesn't get us reparations. So what does it do? We have all of these young black folk that could be making the world over that aspire to be rappers and basketball players that they have scant chance of succeeding at when they could be doing something that's concrete. Now, we want to do something concrete, get it together. Get your child to sit at the kitchen table and learn his math, learn his equations so he can get into STEM. This is the 21st century. It's not the 5th century AD. We're not doing scratch farming. We're doing other stuff. Everybody's got a computer in their hand or a cell phone. That's how we're dealing with right here on Twitter space, now X space. You know how to make a cell phone. You know the quantum mechanics that go into it. This is industry. Everybody on the planet Earth has got a cell phone. And few black folk have a clue as to how the things work. So let's learn. Get part of that. Let's get a piece of this action. That's what we need to do.
All right.
Now, I'm sorry, sister, if you're emotional. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, but I'm just, the world's heart. It doesn't care.
Okay, can I land my plane?
Go right in. Come back on it.
So this is what I'm gonna say.
Hey, real quick, Rella, go ahead and real quick because we got other speakers that's waiting too.
I got it, and I'm not hurrying up the neck, but I'll make sure I make it quick for you. So I'm gonna say this: you didn't hurt my feelings. And at the end of the day, we're having a conversation. It actually was not about your accolades. It was about the point of the matter is you were asked 2 direct questions and you dodged the questions. And I came back in and I asked you a question about why did you pick up the mantle after Cochran passed with Ogletree and the legal team. Even if you couldn't do it as a judge, as you said, I also stated you have connections with other attorneys that you could have gathered up a bunch of people. Again, I'm addressing us. Do you see how I'm not mentioning anything about anybody white or anybody conservative or liberal? I'm making a statement of fact in our group as it is pertained today. And so at the end of the day, we don't have to have conversations with those other groups unless they want to have a group conversation. The Republicans are not interested in actually talking to Black Americans. They're too busy calling us niggers. So at the behest of what you're saying, just for, I'm going to indulge you, to give somebody my time, my space, while also sacrificing the ability to protect myself, my mental state, and my being as an American, I somehow am weak because I won't put myself in front of those particular people. I call BS because at this moment in time, we also are moving the needle even for the new regime of the radical Republican. If that is a thing anymore, if you really know what that is anymore. We don't need to have that conversation again. And I'm going to say it again with people who fail to want to hear the issues that we would like to have put on legal documents, bills to be signed into law for them to be effective and have an impact on our daily lives. They have not done so at all. And you're telling me we should go and beg the Trump administration that might want to put Vivek as vice president? You just got through saying you don't beg. So
Anybody?
I'm lost. I'm very lost with the conversation. And you turned it into your accolades. Judge Joe Brown, I'm going to put this and I'm going to lay this out front so you can hear from me. I have much respect for your career and much respect for you as an elder. But as Sheila Jackson Lee also is an elder, she also can be critiqued for the things that she has done and has not done. And it has nothing to do with having respect for what she has done in her career. It is to say there are things that you also know, as you stated on stage, you have not done so, but you put it out into the ethosphere as for us to know these things when you are in the legal profession.
All right.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
All right. You go ahead and land it, brother.
Okay, now, did you hear what I said about 20 minutes ago?
Hey, real quick, Judge. Let me go ahead and get to some of the hands up here because they've been waiting for a minute.
Okay, yeah, I'll reply to what you had to say in a little bit. All I'm saying right now is this. Did you not hear what I said about read between the lines because some things can't be said? I said I was a judge on the bench, but I said Johnny Cochran's number is still in my phone. I've known him since 1966. You don't think we were talking while all of this was going on? We've known each other for a long time. We've hung out together. We talked. So do you want me to tell you I was violating the canons of ethics? I am not that big a fool. But when you're talking about what have you done, I also mentioned this is the third time. There might be something else in there that you need to be aware of. Matter of fact, my former roommate, one of them, was on the United Nations committee dealing with Americans' reparations. We talked about it all the time. I even did research and drafted stuff for him. So, yeah.
All right.
So, talk that, stop being emotional, and get back to being hardcore as a realist. And nobody's asking you to beg. I'm simply saying you have something that you can offer in exchange for what you want. And stop waiting for somebody to come to you.
No.
Go aggressively to seek what you want. Put your proposition there. If it doesn't work, walk away and deliver consequence. Now.
All right, Judge. Well, real quick, let me give a shout out to Lakia, Nick, and Jerusha for their contribution on Cash App. Let me go ahead and get to Nick. Lou, you had your hand up. If you want to speak, put it back up. We'll get to you after Nick, and then Arkansas. Go ahead, Nick.
Hey, Judge, I actually talked to you last night, and we had an amazing conversation with different hosts. I want to thank you to the host tonight, Newstoter. Been doing a great job. I forget the lady's name that was there last night. She did an amazing job.
She's on right now.
Dana. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Did an amazing job. If you remember, I was the gentleman who said there's an old Russian saying, "Show me the person, and I will show you the crime." That was my So
I quoted twice today.
I know. Well, I appreciate it, Judge.
You got an American saying?
That's one of the. That's an absolute honor knowing that you quoted something I said, even though it wasn't anything I said. It was something I quoted. I want to say a couple things. To be honest, I've been insulted a few times tonight. I'm bulletproof. I'm not going to let those things penetrate or anything. But I was called a mongoloid earlier. I was called a mongoloid. Now, if I would like to hope that it wasn't because I am a straight white male, although I felt like it was.
It sure was. It's because you're a white male. Yes.
Yeah, Rella, please.
I was just answering this question. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, then there's no ambiguity whatsoever. I was called a mongoloid. Now, there's not a fiber in my being that would call any single person on here tonight, whether you guys are liberal, whether you guys are conservative, or somewhere in between, because I'm somewhere in between. There's not a fiber in my being that would call anybody in here, from Judge Joe down to the person who has one follower, a subhuman. Because the things that I heard for the last 45 minutes, a woman complaining about being, wanting reparations and things like that, was because people at one point in our history were treated as subhumans. And that's one of the planet's oldest sins, and it's something that this country will never escape from. Now, I understand that I'll never understand it in the visceral sense that people in the 40s and 50s, but the same speaker that called me a mongoloid, that said that I am a subhuman, that I am less than human. Also, I also realized that she doesn't know me. I donated $30,000 to Thaddeus Stevens Welding School in Pennsylvania. It costs $10,000 per student to go there. I don't know which students I paid for, but I paid for 3 students to go there. Most of those students are underprivileged. They don't have the financial backing to go there. I was actually approached by Thaddeus Stevens, one of their recruiters, to go there. And I decided not to. But you know what? The kindness that they showed to me was something that I've never experienced in my life. And it was a black guy. It was a black recruiter. And I was kicked out of my own home when I was 17 years old. My mother passed away, and I had nowhere to go. I was on the run from Children and Youth Services. And I joined the military shortly after. And then I got into energy sales, and I became an energy broker. And I built a very large energy business. And any chance I get to help people, whether, I don't care if they're mongoloids or white people, or black people, or if they're aliens that are green, I try to help people the best I can.
Hey, Nick, not to cut you off, but just on the actual topic, do you have anything you want to talk about the actual topic?
Oh, I do. Actually, I absolutely do. It's about the Maga. I want to talk about the political party on the right. So I'm just going to, I'll give me one more, literally 60 more seconds so I can finish this. And then I will actually ask Judge Joe what he thinks. So my thing is this. I've heard 2 different speakers tonight call other people or themselves freedmen. And I don't understand what a freed person is, because you were all born as free people.
We're descendants of freedmen. The people that were enslaved in this country. Hold on real quick. The people that were enslaved in this country, the ones who were enslaved and who gained their freedom, we're descendants of those people.
Listen, no offense. You didn't stop her when she called me a mongoloid. At least let me get my statement. I'm not being rude. I'm not being foul.
Well, I'm giving you the definition of what a freedman is.
Thank you. No, I understand.
And also, when y'all were talking, you and her having a communication, I actually stepped away, so I didn't hear the whole conversation between y'all. So.
Oh yeah, no, it's okay. Everybody else, other than you, I guess, heard her call me a mongoloid, and she actually just said it 2 minutes ago that she called me a mongoloid because I'm a white person.
I said Neanderthal, not mongoloid.
Okay, Neanderthal. You're right, Neanderthal. But anyway, so here's my thing: is the fact is, you're not a freed person. You're a free person. There was something that happened this weekend that I actually would actually like to hear Judge Joe comment on. Judge Joe, you're in the same age category as Clarence Thomas. There is a crackpot liberal comedian by the name of John Oliver, and he actually tried to be funny. Actually, what he did was he tried to bribe a federal official, right, a member of the United States Supreme Court, by offering him an RV and $1 million per year if he steps down from the Supreme Court. That almost resembles slaves that would run away from the plantation, and they would try to get them back once they crossed the northern line. Because Democrats, liberals, like my friend that spoke before me, liberals are very good at doing this. Liberals have played the fool of black people for 150 years, right? It was Abraham Lincoln, a Republican, that freed the slaves. It was Democrats in 1864 that had, you can just look, actually Google it, that had posters saying, "We will return your property." I don't know what property meant, but I'm assuming it was black human beings, right? Then they created the Jim Crow laws. And then if you even want to go up into the 70s and the 80s, you want to go to the Strom Thurmonds and the Joe Biden eras, when you had you have an actual segregationist as a president in 2024, which boggles my mind. It's almost like we got Wallace as a president because Joseph Robinette Biden was an actual segregationist. We don't have to dissect Donald Trump's words. We don't have to try to dissect anybody's words. Joseph Biden was an actual segregationist. He stopped, once they segregated schools, there was many different political maneuvers that they tried to do to stop segregation. Segregation was the law of the land. The Supreme Court, went over this with Plessy versus Ferguson and multiple other cases. But you had scumbags, like literal demons, literal ghastly ghouls like Joseph Biden, who said, okay, you know what we can do? With Strom Thurmond, Robert Byrd, all Democrats that tried to stop busing little black children that some of you might have right now. Some of you guys might have young 18 and under children that are black that are in public school today. Your president, Joseph Biden, right now would be trying to stop them from being integrated into schools, to the point where in 2019, Kamala Harris brought this up in the actual debates, where she called him an out-and-out bigot. Not only a bigot of the highest order, he was an actual segregationist. Now, when it comes to MAGA, when it comes to the political party, Donald Trump is not a conservative. Right? Now, I understand a lot of conservatives. I am a rock-ribbed conservative, both physically and socially. But Donald Trump is not a conservative. That's one of the reasons why Donald Trump is hated both by the left and by the right, because he disrupts the political order. Now, Donald Trump, if you look at him, right, 30 years ago, there's actually a book that came out called Letters to Donald Trump, a book that came out last year. It was letters from friends, dignitaries, politicians, queens, kings, people. Among those people were Al Sharpton, Oprah, Jesse Jackson, Muhammad Ali. Now, you also had Malcolm X, which I understand the young lady before me has never read the works of Malcolm X, because Malcolm X said the most dangerous animal on this planet is the white liberal, because the white liberal will play you for a fool while pretending to be your friend. End quote. But Donald Trump is not a conservative. Doesn't claim to be. It comes out when it comes to abortion, he seems more liberal than he does conservative. But Donald Trump has done more for the black community, or at least to undo the harms that the liberal Democrats like Joe Biden have done on the black community. The Democrats have always used black people like suckers on a plantation. They've used black people as if they were still literal slaves on a plantation. Just the same way that Democrats wanted to use slaves to vote. They couldn't get slaves to vote. Guess what they did? Guess what the liberals did? They came up with the Jim Crow law. Hey, black guy. Hey, black girl. Count the jelly beans in this jar. Hey, black guy. Do this math, even though we won't let you go to school. That's what liberals have always done. But Donald Trump undid one of the things that actually Joe Biden is known for trying to harm the black community, which was the 1994 crime law, and I apologize if I don't know the year, but they call it the Clinton crack laws. I know it was not the same as the 1994 crack laws, but Joe Biden, at least in the modern day, is known for having a crack-addicted son. His son has pictures of him smoking crack with prostitutes. Meanwhile, Joe Biden, in 1994, when he signed, because he was the head of the Judiciary Committee, said, hey, this law, meaning the Clinton crack law and the 1994 crime law, said, hey, this law does everything except lynch people for jaywalking. I didn't know. I thought we weren't allowed to use that word lynch anymore. But either way, Donald Trump did his best to undo that with the First Step Act. The moment that the First Step Act went into effect, 3,000 inmates who had nonviolent criminal offenses were released that day. 76% of those people that were released out of the 3,000 were black men for drug offenses. Now, my question to Judge Joe is...
Okay, because, hey, Nick, I mean, because you've been going for a minute, so you got to get to it, man. Yeah, you got to get to it. Now, you just went... Hold on, man. Hold on. You just went through... You went through the thing about what was said to you. Then you went through this, and now you got a question for Judge Joe Brown. You got to wrap it up.
I am done. I don't understand what you're saying. The words "I am done" mean I am done.
Okay.
My question is to Judge Joe is, if you had to choose Democrats / Dixiecrats / segregationists, whatever, or Republicans, which party do you think is racist?
I'd say the Democratic Party, and I want to punish them for their presumption and all of the horrible things they've done to this country and to the black community in particular. Their efforts to destroy masculinity and the precept that establishes duty, honor, obligation, responsibility, accountability, morality, ethics, sense of purpose, and cause. I want to destroy them right now until they have to rebuild. So that means I vote for the opposite. Now, in comment to what you've said for some long while, let me just say this. Truth has no face but truth itself. And no one race or ethnicity on this planet has a monopoly on truth. And governments spend big amounts of money having espionage agencies to find out what their worst enemies are up to. And if it's a good idea, they embrace it. If it's not, they try to counter it or ignore it. So let us not be self-defeating by cutting off something because of where it comes from. You don't have to follow it, but listen to it. You might find something that's interesting. Now, that said, hey, that's my position on what's going on right now. The Democratic Party needs to be destroyed because it's getting back into this slave thing, but this time not behind real bars, real fences, real whips, but what they do to people's minds. Now, pass the mic.
All right. Let me go ahead and get to Rivera, then I get to Arkansas, and I get back to Rella. Rivera, are you there?
Oh, I'm here. Yeah. I'll be free. See if the guy is left. Okay.
Hey, Rivera, you pretty loaded. You got earbuds on or anything?
No, I'm using my phone. I see the guy. He left pretty quick. That's interesting. That was why I came up here was the guy, but I see there's some other people, so I'll try to as quick as possible. The whole Democrat Republican thing, I think somebody was probably going to address that. Me personally, I'll say this. Me personally, state-wise, if I were to vote Democrat Republican, I vote towards policy. Okay? I know we're going to ways past the
Brother, can you speak up? I can't really hear you.
Yeah, you're pretty low, Rivera.
Let me do this. Can y'all hear me now?
We can hear you better.
Okay. I got the mic. I'm sick. So I don't got a loud voice right now. The whole Democrat and Republican thing. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you better now. Go ahead.
Okay. So the whole Democrat and Republican thing, locally I'd vote towards policy. But as far as voting for a president, and I think everybody will agree on this, we are looking for a tangible outcome, if you know what I mean. And that tangible outcome starts with all. Some of the other people, and I think that guy probably would have placated all of us by saying, yeah, I agree with reparations. They tend to do that when there's no other white people on stage. But when they got a few of their buddies in the back row, they go, no, we don't give niggers any money. So I was going to ask him that, and I'm pretty sure he would have said, I think you guys should give you guys reparations. But the common thing that you'll see is every time you see these guys come up, they go, the Dixiecrats and all this other shit. Listen, I'm a simple person, all right? The shit that was in the past.
Hey, chill with the cursing. Everybody chill with the cursing, but go ahead.
Okay. And no, I wouldn't have given up for reparations, but we could debate any time. We can actually go to a place where there's 350,000.
Well, hold on, Nick. Hold on. Don't. Nick, hold on. You just came back up here. You just got through speaking. Don't come off your microphone. Let right now. Rivera's talking. Put your hands up if you want to speak, and we'll get back around the room. But now you can't come and speak right now. Somebody's speaking, and this is for all the speakers. Stop coming off of your microphone when somebody's speaking. Go ahead, Rivera.
Going. All right, and I'll land there. Question about the reparations. He already said that he doesn't agree with it, so that's it. I'm gone, man. Y'all have a good one.
All right, appreciate it. Let me go ahead and get to Arkansas, and then we'll get to Rella. You there, Arkansas?
I'm here. This other space keeps trying to take over my phone. To answer the question, yes, America needs a MAGA party because a MAGA party means a return. It's the acronym is a return to the time when party politics was not preeminent in our country and in our culture. Something that that I understand is that the period that we lived in, that period that preceded Jim Crow.
Arkansas, yes. You gotta turn that music or that television down.
Oh shit. Let me try to get away from that. I'm actually at work, and that's hold on. Let me try to run back here. I'm at work, and that's the music on the sales floor of the store. I mean, they're doing some repairs on the building. Hold on a second. Okay. The period that we're in now, and what Jenna said is actually accurate, and I do appreciate her recognizing the fact that this whole movement away from the Democratic Party and actually into a more independent activist mindset for Black people, it is not something that was initiated just yesterday. It was not something that was initiated by Blexit or Walkaway or any of those things. And in recognizing that fact, this is an awareness that proactive Black people have been reaching, a conclusion that proactive Black people have been reaching for several years now. That's where the fear of the party politicians comes in, because the goal of the party politicians is to maintain a small number of active voters in primary elections as possible. The MAGA party and a MAGA movement, and actually an America First movement, can completely disrupt that model, because only 30% of American voters are registered. And it varies. On average, about 30% are registered. You have 70% of Americans who are just basically going through their life. making sure lights, water, and gas is taken care of. They are living their lives, taking care of their families, doing those things that are reflective of a responsible individual and a responsible family. So a new movement, even if it's within a Republican Party, a new movement creates an opportunity to actually bring those resources back to America. Making America great, the fear, making America great, making Americans great. The fear of the party system is that once you try to focus on a movement that makes America great, it limits their ability to go around the world and get their kickbacks. It limits their ability to send $200 billion to Ukraine and get that $1 billion back on the backside. Because the responsibility of the individuals that we send to the federal government and that we elect to our local governments, they are representing us as a people and us as an individual. But and just on the last thing, what I appreciate about you is that you recognize the opportunity, but you're a little too humble. You also have subscriptions. So it's not $1. Give this brother, subscribe to this brother's page so that he doesn't have to worry about week to week. And anything that comes in on these spaces, that's just gravy. That's what we want. We want advocates. We want voices. We want to create these vehicles that are disruptive to. Now, Jelly's talking about Megyn Kelly's. Disruptive to the Megyn Kellys, because Megyn Kelly is coming on this battleground because she recognizes the potential, and there's no reason that Newstoter cannot compete directly with all of these mainstream people who are now finding themselves doing podcasts. But I appreciate the chance to speak, and again, I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, Arkansas. As always, appreciate you, and thank you tonight. Let me go ahead. I see we got Tamara up here. Tamara, if you want to speak, just go ahead and raise your hand as well too. We'll get to you. So if you want to speak, just let me know, and we'll go ahead and we'll get to you as well. Let me go ahead and get to Rella. Well, let me get to Tamara. Since Tamara's a new speaker, let me go ahead and get to Tamara, and then I get to Rella.
Hey, family. I want to thank you, Newstoter, for the space. This has been very interesting. I think I've been listening for at least an hour, but I just kind of wanted to chime in on the topic since why a MAGA political party is right for America. As someone who's run for office not one time, not two times, not three times, not four times, but 5 times consecutively, I can just tell you my experience is that I don't think we should declare one side or another. I think our strength and our leverage as a people is to go where the wind blows. If the red is on our side, then we on team red. If the blue is on our side, we on team blue. I think we should continue to utilize our political space very, very strategically. I don't think we should declare one side or another. So that's just my take on it. I'll continue to listen. This has been an excellent conversation. And thank you, Newstoter, for all you do, brother. You've been hanging in here real strong. So I just want to say thank you for the space tonight. So thank you.
Thank you, Tamara. It's good to hear from you. And Tamara, we're going to be holding, I think next Wednesday, we're going to have a political space for our candidates, for all Black candidates. We're trying to see who's going to be running in 2024 and even 2025 and on. So if you guys are into politics, or you guys state, local, whatever, that you're trying to do federal, if you're running for office anywhere, guys, make sure you check out the space we're going to have next Wednesday, guys. So definitely come there. It's going to be a political space. We're trying to see exactly what Black candidates are going to be running it for office and everything else. So definitely check that out. That'll be next Wednesday. So Tamara, if you get a chance, come on through, let people know about your platform and everything else as well too. So shout out to Tamara. Let me go ahead and get to Rella. I'm gonna get back to you, Nick. Michael, I see you up here. I don't know if you want to speak. If you do, just raise your hand. Like I say, for those that can support us on Cash App, $ Newstoter, guys. $ Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news media curation platform today. $ Newstoter. If you don't have Cash App, we have the Venmo and PayPal up in the Jumbotron. Same for my people over there on YouTube. We have the Venmo and PayPal up in the description. $ Newstoter. Let me go ahead and get to Rella. Well, real quick, Judge, did you want to say anything real quick before we get to back to the speakers? Because I know it's been a little minute for you. You had something to say.
Okay, well, just basically replying to the last sister that just talked. Yeah, being an independent is good. Get the best bargain out of it. But right now, we need to punish the Democratic Party. Whether we get anything out of anything else, we need to punish them because they've taken us for granted, and we cannot allow that. So, okay, and by the way, I would like reparations. I don't know if that next to last remark was directed to me, but yeah, I would like reparations, but I just think we are being let down by our congressional representatives. So I'll leave it at that on that. But pass the mic.
All right. Let me go ahead and get back to Rella. Rella, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Thank you, Newstoter. So, with that being said, definitely shout out to Tamara Sheila Johnson in the run that she's had, and if she is still in the running, I look forward to also definitely supporting her. I'm going to put this out there, and I'm going to make this real short and sweet. So, the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act of 1994 was 93 and 94, which was H.R. 3355. I'm just going to point this out. It was 61 yeas, 38 nays, right? Majority Democrat and Republicans also signed off. And lo and behold, I'm going to name these states familiar. Republican, Delaware, Vermont. I remember Missouri. And I can post this down below. This is on the Senate.gov. This is just the Senate that actually voted yay and nay. And the House also has their votes that will input as well on this information. And the reason why I say that, I bring this up, and I'm going to use this because people, again, who come into our space and they sit and cry about whether or not they know the scientific terms of their genealogy because they don't like to be called Neanderthals. I'm going to say this. That's a scientific fact. Lynching.
How can this be allowed? How can this be allowed?
Lynching.
Okay, Nick, I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. Stay on your microphone, okay? She's speaking. Don't cut her off. I don't know how many times I got to say that tonight, but stay on your microphone.
Hey, let me say something on that too.
Hold on real quick, DJ, because I see Blue Morgan over there on YouTube talking about Newstoter. You let this idiot babble, but you keep cutting off the black woman. I don't know what the hell you talking about, Blue Morgan. I hadn't been cutting off anybody, so maybe you listening wrong. But go ahead, DJ.
Yeah, and with that being said, hey Nick, we're not allowing anything. You know what I'm saying? First of all, so don't be projecting on Newstoter's platform. You feel what I'm saying? Rella is also a part-time co-host up here. So, she's allowed to say what she feels she needs to say. So you don't have to cut her off, but if you want to rebuttal or, got anything to say back to what she says, you could just hold your talking points and, come back with your hand raised or say, hey, I want to speak and say something to it. Go ahead, Rella.
Not only that, but you next to speak up here as well, too, Nick. So wait your turn.
So I'm going to say this again. And I'm speaking towards the Human Genome Project, so maybe Nick is not aware of that too, while he was actually trying to tell, again, Black American descendants what our history is, and also state that I don't know anything about Malcolm X, knows nothing about me as well. So I'm going to put it out there. And at the end of the day, my point is that these particular parties also contribute to the impact of harm that we have. And if you look at who has legislation that actually truly benefited our communities per state and their counties, you will see your district, county representatives, what party they represent, and you vote accordingly. The president at this moment in time, all they have to do is sign executive orders. If our demand, which I do agree with Samara, if we hold the line that, again, our vote is for sale, and the demand is the documentation has to be in writing before you even ask for a vote. Because, yes, the Democratic Party has taken us for granted, but also so has the Republican Party, because the Republican Party is not the party of Lincoln. The the party of Adele. Partiers are in their running roughshod on themselves. They arguing with themselves, had a man in their party who literally lied and had to be booted out by their own people. So at the end of the day, I want to put it out there again. We don't need other people trying to sell us another plantation story. We need to make sure we stand full throttle in our square, in the purple movement, and making sure that we also demand, as the judge said, put your balls on and make your demands known. If the people, like Nick, don't want to hear what we have to say, and as he came in with his Russian quote, not one American patriot quote, we don't need to hear from them because they have no interest in what American descendants have going on. And as a matter of fact, I don't even know if he has any interest of what he actually wants to hear from his constituents, because he has yet to address that. So for Black American descendant, and I'm speaking for myself because I can, reparations is important. Majority Black representation in politics is important. And also, and let's make sure they're American. That's important. Immigration is important. And we would like to see resources for the people who have been impacted by homelessness and the like, who have been denied resources that are due for Americans, which should be something that is a given for people who are patriots. And that's not a begging. That is a demand. So whether you like that or not, again, that's your business, not mine. So stay out of my history if you don't know it, and I'll stop calling you what you don't even know about your genome. Okay, and I'll end.
All right. Thank you, Rella. Let me go ahead and get to Nick. Black Majority State, I see you up here. So if you want to speak, just raise your hand. But Nick, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah. So, I don't let too much offend me. I spent 5.5 years in one of the worst state prisons in the country for a crime that I had nothing to do with. I overturned my conviction through the legal process. That's one of the reasons why I've dedicated my life to working with people that are wrongfully convicted, whether they are Neanderthals or Black people or whatever, however people want to call them. I guess Neanderthals or Black people, right? However you want to call it. I don't know. Black people make up. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me fine?
Yeah, speak up a little bit louder. If you got earbuds on, take them off.
No, I don't. But I'll speak up a little bit louder. So I work. I'm actually on staff at Temple University. I actually am. I work for their criminal justice department. So we actually work with I'm actually on staff with a specific program, which is actually hopefully we'll be in every single continent. We're one continent away from being on every continent, but I work for Inside Out. You guys can look that up for all the brilliant geniuses that I keep hearing on here. We actually help predominantly Black people. We fight for people that are wrongfully convicted, because I was wrongfully convicted. I had a life sentence, and I didn't have the money to fight my way out of prison, so I had to fight my own way. I had to go to a law library, learn the laws of the Post-Conviction Relief Act, and I had to fight my way. The only person who's opinion actually even matters, and the only person I want to hear is what Judge Joe would say after this. This is probably the only person intelligent enough to understand. I had a wrongful conviction. I lived in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where they don't care if you're white, they don't care if you're, well, so I'm sorry, they don't care if you're Neanderthal, or if they don't care if you're black. They just arrest you and they grab somebody, and that's what they do. They don't care if somebody rats on you and just says, hey, by the way, this was the person. That's all they do. So I made it my life's work, other than becoming a multimillionaire in the energy industry. I dedicated my time, my effort, my life to working in the criminal justice program and helping people that I don't care about, nor do I know about. But you know what? They were wrongfully convicted, and they shouldn't be. I've spent the last 10 years helping those people. You guys are looking
hey,
up.
Nick, let me ask you a question real quick. Since you're in PA, right? Right here in Jersey. So what's your
I live in Jersey. I live in Patterson. So.
Right. Shout out to P-Town. Shout out to P-Town. Straight up. You know what I mean? Home of the block. So what's your thoughts on what was it? The Kids for Cash or Cash for Kids? And that judge down in PA, I forgot his name. But what was your thoughts on that? And then what were you living in PA at the time? What was your thoughts?
I was living in PA at the time, and I think the judge should, my opinion would probably be unsuitable for the space that we're in right now. I think that for taking the kickbacks that he was getting for what he was doing, locking up kids that had that literally some of the kids were guilty, some of them were innocent, but he didn't even care enough to figure out. He was just finding them guilty, getting the kickbacks from the state. I think that if the community made a Christmas ornament and hung them from the street light, I think that would be good enough for me, as far as I'm concerned. Now, here's a couple things. We're going to get back to reparations. This is kind of where I wanted to go back to. So, I wanted to bring up just a couple different questions, right? So, two-thirds of Black Americans reject reparations. They want nothing to do with it.
That's not true.
No, I'm actually. That is
100%. That's 100% not true. You may have 2/3 that believe they may not get it, but 2/3 of them are not against getting reparations. That's not true.
Okay. Well,
because hold on. I've done spaces before, and I've actually had the actual statistics in front of me, and something like 65 to 70% of Black people support reparations. So that's not correct.
Like you said earlier, if you guys disagree with me, just say it afterwards. Let me just go.
Let me say this on top of that, just real quick. You can go check Newstoter's backlog on YouTube. We got 1,000 spaces over there talking about reparations, bro. So we run this
Then I will agree that maybe I am misinformed. Maybe the statistic that I just read 5 minutes ago is wrong. If you could bring it to me and point it to me, I'll be the first one. I'll post it on my.
Hey, everyone in here is a reparationist. Everyone in here is a reparationist. Not 9 out of 10.
I'll be the first. I'll be the first one to point it out and say I was wrong. If the statistic is wrong. Now, there's a couple.
What you're telling you is wrong. Cool.
Well,
we can always display the evidence. That's fine too. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, then eventually we'll do that in the future. Display it. We'll just execute.
Yeah. We source it up over here, Nick. But go ahead.
Yeah, everybody get in the purple pill. Prove Nick wrong. There you go. Get in the purple pill.
Bro, I don't listen. You're not offending me. My feelings ain't hurt. All I'm saying is.
You're not saying it is. We're just saying you're wrong about the statistics. That's all. Go ahead.
Okay, I disagree, and hit me up in my inbox, and if I'm wrong, I'll be the first one to admit it. Last thing I want to do is be wrong. Now, there's two people I want to bring up. Two people that I'm hoping that everybody on this call would at least know. One of them is Joy Reid. I personally call her Joyless Reid. She's the Joy. The readout on MSNBC, Joy Reid.
Hold on a second, Nick, and I'm not even trying to cut you off. And this is the one thing that we want white folks, not Neanderthals or any other disrespectful thing. Whatever, we ain't trying to be disrespectful about. But I had a feeling that's the area you were going to go to. So,
of course.
Hold on a second. I got you. So when you mention people like, to start off, Joanne Reid and reparations, she's not a Black American descendant, certainly.
Well, that's that's all I'm pointing out. So that's all I'm pointing out.
Right. So okay, right, and that's correct. And I hear you. So when you say 2/3 of Black America, well, she's the main one that's always talking reparations, but got the talking points wrong. So we want to make sure you're not binge watching Joy and Reed when you come up here with a talking points. So
we're on the same page. Listen, by the end of this, by the time the period hits the end of the sentence, we're going to be on the same page, right? The whole thing about the 2/3, I told you we'll put that on the back burner. We can visit that somewhere else. That's null at this point. Now, I want to bring up two people. Joy Reid. She's a major commentator on MSNBC. I've actually debated her once. Now, she wants to say she's one of those, she's a big reparations girl. Big, everybody, we should have reparations. Actually, over the weekend, Joy Reid. Now, I don't know how you guys feel. I would feel differently, but Joy Reid said that she and her family and her people built this country. When none of her people even came to this country until about 60 years ago. They came here 60 years ago. Like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, they were all still living at the time. But she deserves reparation. Now, my question is, though, right? Then you have a gem, an absolute gem, like Anna Navarro. So now we've actually, I hate to bring it to it, but The View, Anna Navarro. For like 4 years now, she's just ridiculed reparations. Oh my God, everybody should have reparations. Well, it's funny. Like 2 weeks ago, they found out that she actually doesn't even have a single slave in her genealogy. But what she does have is like slave owners. Not even just like some dumb hillbilly broke slave owner, but like her family came from like slave owners in Spain, where they were in like real chattel slavery, like in the most disgusting, diabolical scum of the people, where they were actually breeding people and selling them as animals.
Like they did over here, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I don't disagree. I'm just talking about her genealogy. It happened here. It happened everywhere. It happened here. Happened in Europe.
Yeah, but Nick, here's the thing. She I think from what you said, that is true. She found out that her family were slaveholders, and I think she still says she supported reparations. Getting back to the Joy Reid thing, Joy Reid wouldn't even be she wouldn't be eligible based on the fact that it's lineage based and it goes back to slavery. So Joy Reid, even though she included herself as us, she wouldn't even be eligible for it.
But my question would be is if you put So how would now? It's going to be like a little bit of a run-on sentence. I promise it won't be. It'll be less than a minute long.
Yeah. Let's get to it because we got another hand. We're not going to keep the space open too much longer with Judge Joe. I'm sure he's had a long day, so we're not going to keep this space going too much longer. But
my question would be to Judge Joe. First of all, Judge Joe, we have a pretty decent relationship from what I thought. I actually respect the hell out of you from the few conversations that we have had. I hope that you don't see me as a mongoloid or a Neanderthal, because I see you nothing but a. Honestly, these are the 4 or 5, whatever they've been on. I run lives on TikTok that do 400,000 or 500,000 people, and these are the only couple lives I've been on because one of my friends asked me to come here. And I've respected everything that you've said, and I've respected Newstoter, respected Donald yesterday, and I think that you guys do a good thing here. My thing is, do you think that I am a Neanderthal? I am a Mongoloid? Do you think that I am a Mongoloid? And how? So if you were to lock me, Joy Reid, and Anna Navarro in a room, and let's say 10 random Americans, how would they come up with which one of us pays and what percentage should we pay to black people?
That question that you're saying, for one, they've already calculated the amount that it's something between anywhere from $14 to $20 trillion. Who would pay for it? The government would pay for it the same way the government pays for sending money over to Israel and 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 Ukraine and to all these other foreign nations as well. The same way the government provides and pays money to the Native Americans who live on these that have these casinos and everything else. The same way they paid money to the Japanese for their internment in those camps. The government would pay the same way the government went ahead and allowed slavery in this country for close to 100 years, and then you had Jim Crow and everything else. So the government, the United States government, would be the one that would be actually forking over the actual bread.
But my question is to Judge Joe, who would get it if they were to take a 23andMe or a genealogy test? Who? What do they need? Do they need 5% slavery gene, 10% slavery gene? What do they need to qualify for it? Because we have a lot of people with very dark skin in this country. Some of them have come across. Matter of fact, we've had 10,000 illegal immigrants come over this border.
Are they a descendant? Are they a descendant of chattel slavery? Because it's not hard to actually.
I don't know.
Yeah. So that I'm telling you what it would be. If you're a descendant of chattel slavery and you were on the 1870 census, one of your family members, as long as you had one family member and you identified as Black for the past 10 years, of my understanding, the last 10, 15 years, you'll be eligible for reparations. So if you just came to this country in the 1960s or the 70s and you're Black and you come from another part of the world, then you wouldn't be eligible.
So as long as somebody,
Right. So hold on, real quick.
as long as somebody
Hold on.
It's not that complicated, Nick. Truly, is not.
Yeah, it's definitely not. So Nick, just let me add this in for context again. I know it's about receipts and everything.
If I could get it just a second.
I got you, Judge. I got you, Judge. You next, right here.
If we wanted to do
Go ahead.
somewhere along the line, so there's a great reluctance. You're going to have to get into DNA test because modern DNA tests can tell you where you came from and when you got here. Neanderthal, I don't think of you as a Neanderthal, but I would say this: if you have Native American in you, and a lot of us do, it is a fact that Native Americans have a certain percentage, between 2.5% and about 4.5% of their DNA is in fact Neanderthalian. And there's even within Native Americans a small part of Denisovan DNA. You might find that some very, very typical white folks are entitled to reparations. For example, we've heard Sally Hemings' story. She's obviously Black, a slave who was taken advantage of, you might say, by Thomas Jefferson, but her current descendants, direct descendants, DNA verified, look like the white folks. They're blonde and brunette, blue eyes, green eyes, and looking like ordinary white people next door. So what are you going to do when you find out that when you get to DNA, some of the DNA deals with the color scheme and a lot more deals with stuff that doesn't show up color-wise. So you've got a very high percentage of Black folk and white folk in this country that have a significant percentage of Black that came from the slave period. You've got a considerable number of Black people that look obviously Black that have a large percentage of white DNA. Now, there is one little set that I did research on for a congressional committee about 40-some years ago. Every single former state in the Confederacy had laws on the books up until somewhere around the mid-30s that said something like an applicant who has no more than, let's say, 1/16 for Louisiana, 1/8 for Tennessee, 1/4 for Arkansas, and Alabama, known colored ancestry, way with 2 white sponsors who would speak to his character, apply to any chancellor in the state for a declaration of Caucasian status. And a lot of people got those things, so they had 1/4 Black in them, 1/8 Black in them. And they got declared to be white folk, but that stopped up in the 30s. The reason for that was because a lot of very rich plantation owners who had lost their illegitimate sons in the Civil War, meaning part of the marriage. And they didn't want their money to go to the state or their assets. So they would want the children they'd had with their favorite mistresses to get the money. So they contrived to get these things so black people could be declared white people. So if you take people's DNA, it's very surprising what you get. You get white people who got the genes for a white color, but have a whole lot of slave ancestry in them. And you've got some that look like they're typical black folk, pinky hair, everything else, chocolate brown, and they got a whole lot of white folk in them. So before you talk, I think you do yourself a favor to get your DNA tested. You might be very surprised by what's in you. Like, for one thing that surprises a lot of black people, they have a lot of recent Chinese ancestry. Why? Because immediately after the American Civil War, the Southern Railroads were in a complete shambles, and the Chinese coolies that got brought over didn't go out west. They came to the South, 1866, 67, and they didn't bring any Chinese nookie, and there was all of this ex-slave nookie running around. So a lot of black Americans who are accepted as black folk have a lot of Chinese ancestry as a great-great-grandparent or grandparent. So when you talk about something and you get a DNA test, you may find out that you've been talking very badly about your own kinfolk. Now, I'll pass the mic on that one.
All right. Thank you, Judge. Let me go ahead and get to black majority state. We're going to get to the last three hands, black majority state, Rella, OG, and then we're going to let the judge say something to close it out. Then we're going to close this one out for the night, guys. It's been a pretty good space going on as well, too. Let me go ahead and get to black majority state.
Real quick, before we get to black majority, I just want to say something, even though I see Nick dropped out of the space just 2 seconds, black majority. So we don't have to prove anything to you, sir. We are the receipts. We don't have to show you anything. We've been bombing this information from the moment we came out the womb. That you're crazy if you're saying 2/3 of black people in the country of America are against reparations when the first person you mentioned was Joanne Reed. And even though you said that you wasn't going that route, that's the way you ran. I had a feeling that you were going that way. See, this is the problem where folks watch too much CNN. You see that even some of our folks that are black watch too much CNN. This got to get off, turn the cable off, cut it off. You're paying too much for it anyway. You see what I'm saying? So if white folks really cared and really wanted to know what was going on in black America, you would sit there and just be quiet versus getting your statistical data from the television. There you go. Judge just told you the television. He tell you that every time he come in, he start television. They lying to you, bro. You know what I mean? But go ahead, Black Majority was good. Make sure y'all follow Black Majority too, brother, with the big red beat. Follow him on social. Follow Newstoter on social. Hit the Cash App, Nackers. Let's go.
Okay. Good night, good evening, great space. So unfortunately the guy left. Let me answer the thing up here. Why a mega political party is right for America. It may be right for America. I'm not sure how right it is for Black America. I really think that we've been in this merging timeline and this cycle that we have to diverge from. I don't see a future where we stay connected to these people as connected as we have been, and where it actually benefits Black America in the long term, and even in the short term, to be quite honest. But I think it'd be great for America, but not necessarily for Black America. I came up here for the Kruge guy, and I'll just give a quick rundown of his ancestry. Kruge, Kruge, is a German surname. I'm on the website looking at their crest and everything else that is associated with Kruge being a German surname. The word Neander, which is a version of Newman, which is spelled Neuman, actually means new man. I often use this term when describing these people. New man. That's what Neander means. And the reason it was called Neander is because they named this valley in Germany where they found the bones of Neanderthals way back in 1850. So him being a German, not having any idea of his ancestry and having no idea that the Neanderthals were found in the German valley of Numan, is really just of someone who talks loud, says a lot, but really doesn't understand their own history and why that name is what it is. If those bones were found anywhere else on the planet, they weren't. They are attached to his population, and it just, I don't see why he would have a problem with accepting that determination, because that population, highest percentage of Neanderthal DNA, because they intermix and intermingle with the Europeans and the Asians. And so this is where that comes from. So I just wanted to address that, and I'll end with that.
All right, let me go ahead and get to Rella. Rella, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Thank you, Newstoter. This was a great space. All in all, people who, again, I always say this, people who utilize the term emotional when we're having the discussions that they don't like to kind of project. I always say you just have to take a look at the information and don't be deterred, because an emotional response just means that it's a human response and it's not a negative thing. The problem is when people deflate and turn away from, I think, factual information. So again, as I mentioned, Neanderthal, and thank you, Black Majority, for also giving some facts on information. And I did mention the Human Genome Project, which was actually done by Harvard and Yale. So if those of you who do not know your history about the human genome, you might want to go check that out. The second thing is reparations is not based on the hue of your skin. So again, I'm going to circle that back around to people like that person that was in here, again, is misinformed, but wants to speak as if he is the golden seal or the child that we should be following and be taking our cues from. As American descendants, and I stated this before, look at your legislators, find out and demand your identity and your repair on bills, and also start to protect yourself, 2A over 14A, and making sure that you are having the conversations with one another about representation in Black majority states. I don't have time to sit around and try to school and teach people who have access to the internet but want to claim people are ignorant. Those games are over, and we're not having those anymore. We're not doing that. We're really not. I think Black Americans are doing a hell of a job with the conditions that we're in, even the different economic statuses that we do represent. We're working on trying to collectively rebuild as we always have. That does not have to be something that we need a cue or hue from people who have no self-interest in the true narrative of our story. So happy Black American Freedmen Descendant History Month, and also make sure that you recognize that 365 days a year, not just in February. And I'll end.
All right. Thank you, Rella. Let me go ahead and get to OG. OG, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, Rella, it's 14A over 2A, and get in the 14A over 2A community on social.
Okay, I appreciate that, guys. Newstoter, can you guys hear me?
You're good, dog.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hey, how's everybody? Been a little minute. The only reason I just came up here, I was going to address the guy too. What was his name? Nick. I mean, I could say.
Hey, OG, I knew you was coming up to chew him out, man. Go ahead, dog.
Yeah, not so much to chew him out, but I mean, kudos to what he was saying.
Round one, know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. But the thing is, I was listening and I was getting these undertones, and I was getting these pull yourself up by your bootstrap undertones. I mean, he was saying that he was being helpful, and I understand that these innocence programs and all. I've looked into those innocence programs, and they are well-meaning all the time. Okay, but at different times you have to be careful about the dynamics, and when you try to describe everybody being able to participate, because just like I don't need everybody laying hands on me, trying to eat on me or whatever, I don't need everybody trying to be on my innocence program either. Okay? So the thing of it is, people fail to realize the dynamics that take place with these programs and with all that's being done. Okay? Because if you are able to get liberated, the person that you did, that he got executed, and he was innocent also. Okay, so the dynamics that go into guilt and innocence, and then the other dynamics that go into who's able to seek these, verdicts out. People who are able to participate in the programs, the dynamics that go into place, because there are certain groups that they're not going to get access to these certain records. And then you got another group that they can get access to these certain records. Okay? It's just like back in 1850 when a black person bought another black person for a slave. Okay? Half the time we knew that they were buying them so that they could buy them their freedom eventually. That was the motivation for that. Okay? Now, the question that we have is, when those things take place, how did it take place? How was it able to take place? How was this person able to buy a black slave when there was so much turmoil going on around him? Like 10 miles down the road, there's another slave plantation that's, they whipped the hell out of the slaves. Okay, so go back to 10 miles, and you got another slave that bought another slave. Okay, it just doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. And so, people would be wise to consider all the dynamics that go into these interactions. Who's allowed to do what and who's not allowed to do what. Judge Joe Brown, he knows about who's allowed to have access to certain records and who's not allowed to have access to certain records. And it's the same thing out in life. It's the same thing with just like Emmett Till. They killed Emmett Till, but by the same token, others lived. And I'm not understanding the interaction, but neither are other people understanding the interaction, because we cannot put all these things together and figure out conclusively what is what. So everything remains in a quagmire, and we can't sort these things out because we don't realize the dynamics that help propel these things along. Okay, we have to be able to understand the dynamics that go behind all of these motivations, and when we can do that, we can understand how to navigate and how to nuance all of it and to further explain our cause. There's no way in hell we should be trying to explain to people how we need reparations when all the evidence is clear. Okay? It would have been easier to sort it out 60 years ago, of course. It would have been easier to sort it out 100 years ago, of course. That didn't happen. But it still should not distort anybody's, intellectual thinking of how to accomplish these things going forward. Okay? It's ignorance and there's stupidity. And we're putting forth a lot of both. And it's causing, even some of the prominent intellectuals to stumble as well. Okay? So in essence, everybody's being stupid. I'm sorry, I apologize about that, expletive. Sorry about that, Newstoter. But guys, we got to be aware of these dynamics and look at what propels and what catalyzes everything that we do, so that we can defend it, release it, utilize it. And I thank you guys. Appreciate it.
All right, all right. Let me go ahead and get to Judge Joe Brown. No taxation. I see you coming up here, sister. But I'm getting ready to close this space up right here. I'm gonna go ahead and let Judge Joe Brown go ahead and get it in real quick. Go ahead, no taxation. I'll give you 1 minute, sweetie, but I'm getting ready to close this space out for the night.
I sure thank you. I sure thank you for doing that too, Nose. I know you try to close it out, but this is my only opportunity to ask this question. Last time he was in the space talking about Fannie Judge was, it was too many other people that had.
But yeah, no taxation. Make it real quick because I got something to do, sweetie. But go ahead.
Okay. Judge, the way Fannie was talking in the courtroom, telling all of her extra business that she didn't have to tell, do you think that she could have signed something, or could she have signed something that says she can't be prosecuted or taken for anything that she says?
She's likely to go to jail and quite likely to lose her law license. They've already filed ethics complaints against her and started the investigation. I've been doing this for 50 years, been the public defender for Memphis, not a, but the head public defender, been a prosecutor, been a defense lawyer, handled murder cases, got elected to 2 8-year terms as a criminal court judge. And I've never seen such a dumbass stunt as I saw that woman do. She's supposed to be the head prosecutor for one of America's largest cities, Atlanta. And she did stuff that I've only seen some of the dumbest, most arrogant crooks do. Now, when she walked in there with hand on hip, threw those papers on opposing counsel's table, you have to understand she was not and is not on trial. She was only a witness. When she walked in and did that, the lawyers for the district attorney's office were arguing with the judge that there was no need for her to be called as a witness. She decided she's going to walk in and do it anyway. And what did she do? For God's sakes, this woman came in there and she stepped up and she implicated herself and confessed under oath, that's what's so bad about it, to election interfering, nepotism, abuse of office. She perjured herself multiple times. She commingled funds. She talked about graft going around. She talked about bribery. She talked about taxation problems, tax evasion. She talked about, and obviously, money laundering. This woman brought up and implicated herself in all sorts of things that established probable cause to return indictments against her. She confessed to actions that constitute RICO conduct under Georgia law. It's astonishing what this woman did. It's like people said, talk to me. Well, Joe, I was saying last week, he's got all these indictments, 92 pages from Georgia. There must be something to it. And then I saw what is behind it. See, what Fannie Willis is about is also what Lori Lightfoot was about in Chicago. She's just what Kamala Harris was as the prosecutor in California when she got up and did her thing. She's just like the prosecutor in New York who's gloating over the $385 million fine. She's just like Stacey Abrams down in Georgia running for office. And this is the face of the type of person that the Democratic Party is trying to ram down everybody's throats as somebody that's supposed to be in charge. So when you think Kamala Harris in the White House being a heartbeat away, or an advancement of Biden's senility, or dementia, just think what you saw with Ms. Willis. That's what you'll get. And I swear, I've never seen anything quite that dumb in my entire life. Really, I have. That was inexcusable. It's like, it dawned on me, she really doesn't have much experience as a criminal trial lawyer. She was in civil law. She got in because this was an agenda thing. And that little show about sister girl magic, whatever it was, no. See, it's like you step into a ring and you touch gloves before you come out of your corner and fight. You get in the dojo and you get on the mat and you bow. There are courtesies that go along with what you do. She was an officer of the court. That judge was not jumping her. He was doing an excellent job as it's supposed to be. I know I've had that James Earl Ray case where everybody's looking. Cross all the T's, dot the I's. And what I saw was just absolutely inexcusable. And the funny thing about it is we've got a debate going on about, was she telling the truth when she said she had the affair with him? It was just like an office romance that just developed later on. Or is somebody else telling the truth when they say the thing originated early? It doesn't make any difference. Either way, she's dead in the water because it's a horrible ethical violation. As soon as it developed, or if it already existed, she should have brought it to the judge's attention. She could have done it in secret and call it in camera in the judge's chambers, and he could have made a decision. If he made a decision to leave it in, then he was going to have to bring the rest of the counsel in and tell them. If she withdrew, he could keep it secret as to why. So it's like, what are you doing here? Why didn't you take the Fifth Amendment? Why did you put yourself in a position of opening your big mouth? That was just horrible. But back from that, what we have is an example of why we should not belong to any party. I'm not saying belong to Maga. I'm just saying Maga offers a great opportunity to come in and take some element of initial control from the front end. We are a valuable resource. The Democratic Party has been giving us what we have, Fannie Willis's, and we've been led to believe that they're great. That's not great. That was awful. So rather than getting stuck with that, rather getting stuck with dealing with what's coming out of the Republican Party, which is far to the right of some people. I mean, understand you have an opportunity to get in on the ground floor to make something else. Use the Maga movement to split something off from the Republican Party so you can have a common sense, middle of the road party that you actually have some input in. You've got maybe 7 to 12 years before the country has no more majority race in it. And now is the opportunity, a decade in front of the event, to start making preparations to start having control that you never had. And maybe that would be the opportunity to get reparations when you have control of a political party where nobody is a majority. And you can be a significant component of a coalition. That's how you work politics. But I'm sure that will offend woke folk. But one of the things I suggest you get away from is talking about folk that don't look like you have to be your enemies. Take your allies where you can get them. The whole world works that way. And I'll just give one little example. When I went off on an institution that used to call us the N-word, and I made my first appearance in there less than a year after they stopped being a segregated court, juvenile court, in Memphis and Shelby County, where the judge was a 6th grade dropout and a racist and a rabid gay person who hated straight folk, particularly straight black men. And I saw somebody that wasn't even an attorney hired because this person with only a 6th grade education, who was the judge, could not hear cases. He was going off on a black woman, 55 years old, trying to railroad her, and I made a stand. Okay, I got 5 days in jail for that. But you see, what that is you stand up for some folk. You stand up for some things. You do the right thing. But you have to also understand that you have some obligations to be sensible. You have to be willing, though, when you're sensible, to say some things are worth sacrifice for, and you have to be willing to sacrifice for. You have to stand up for people. But do you know who let me out on bond? All of the black judges in Memphis and Shelby County, which now has a majority of its judges being black. The only person that stepped up and said, "What's the matter? Nobody's going to put Judge Brown on bond pending the appeal? Oh, hell no, I'll do." And got a white guy. So what about all of these black judges? Now, right now, for example, in Memphis and Shelby County, 60% of the judges are black and female. So what happened to all the black judges? It was a white guy. So I'm supposed to get mad and treat him like he's a racist enemy, and he set the bond. I didn't mind sitting up in there. When I did do the time, I had the warden sitting around listening to me, all of the chief guards, and inmates, and everything else. We were holding forth. I was speechifying, and everybody was listening. Recruited a lot of people to the cause. But you see, there are things called alliances. Watch a picture of World War II and you'll see Churchill, Stalin, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And they all are different backgrounds at different purposes, but they were after Tojo, Benito, and Adolf, and they got them. They had a mission to accomplish. They put it together and they did it. Alliances come together and they break up, because after that, you got 45 years of Cold War where everybody's main concern is whether the whole planet Earth gets incinerated. Now, it's not so bad, but it's escalating again. So, interests vary. You don't belong to any party. You go with the party when it is in your best interest to do so. Now, with that, I rest my case.
All righty. Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Judge Joe. We're going to get ready to close it out on that note there. Rella, we'll get to you next time. But I appreciate you coming in, Judge Joe, as always. Thank you. Like I say, I want to try to get you in here a couple times a month, if possible. I know you'd be pretty busy, but definitely want to see about trying to get you in at least once or twice a month, if possible.
Yeah, Miss Dana's here too. She's been listening in.
Oh yeah, I know Dana's here. Dana was one of the first people in the space, so I always hit Dana up to see what your schedule looks like as well too. And I know you guys y'all do a Twitter space on Tuesday. Guys, check out Dana's Twitter space. Her and Judge Joe, they normally do a Twitter space on Tuesday, so definitely we'll see if we can try to get you in, and I want to get you in more often. Like I said, at least a couple times. What's that?
JJBBQ.com, and you'll love it. Judge Joe Brown Barbecue, best you've had. You can also order it on Amazon. Judge Joe Brown Barbecue. We've got Tiffany Haddish as a partner. Beyonce's personal chef is in there to make the stuff I come up with palatable to health food places. We've got a sister who runs the only black female operated meat packing plant in America. It's in Compton, California. We've got a good sister that has a distillery, and you can taste her stuff. It's called Poppy's Bourbon. P-A-P-I''S. It's smooth, and it's a recipe that her bootlegging granddaddy came up with in Mississippi. So we try to spread the action around. Check it out, Judge Joe Brown Barbecue, Miss Dana. And with that, hey, didn't mean to tie things up 30 seconds longer.
Well, yeah, definitely, Judge. Next time, because we forgot, we normally put your stuff up in the jumbotron, but next time, definitely when so we can go ahead and have that up in the jumbotron, so everybody can go ahead and get a chance to buy that as well. So I apologize for not when Dana was up in the space. I should have had Dana put it up in there because I know Dana normally she comes up at least in the speaker section to put your stuff in there. So I definitely apologize for that, and next time we will definitely get it up there as well too. So shout out to you, Judge Joe Brown. I'm so glad that you was able to swing by and spend a little bit of time with us. And this was a great space, as always, with you. So once again, we thank you for coming through to the Newstoter Twitter space, guys. We will be back tomorrow night. So join us at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll see you guys there. DJ, you got something you want to say real quick?
No. Go ahead. Over and out, y'all. Peace.
So, yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Everybody be safe. Have a good one. Peace.